Naruto, the rise of the Uzumaki Clan. Hey! Look who's back for more adventures. We love having you here to continue this story that keeps us all awake. Important note, all of this is pure fiction. So don't try any techniques you hear here in real life, your neighbor might call the cops. This amazing novel and all its rights belong to the original author. We're just the ones giving it voice and drama. Are you enjoying the show? Prove it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving that like that motivates us so much. And if you want VIP access to exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting with things you won't find anywhere else. Chapter 151 What must be given up must be given up. Konoha. Emergency meeting. Hiruzen Sarutobi took a deep drag on his pipe, looking at the assembled Konoha elders with a worried expression. Have you all read the intelligence? He asked anxiously. What do we do now? The three great ninja villages had all declared war on Konoha, and demanded the return of the Six Paths Blades. What was going on? He, as Konoha's highest leader, didn't even know Konoha possessed so many Six Paths Blades, or rather, why hadn't Konoha seen them among the five great ninja villages? Could it be that Konoha was also hiding the legendary blade somewhere, and they just hadn't discovered them yet? These four great ninja villages are really going too far. Hamura Mitakato said angrily. This Akatsuki organization is definitely doing this on purpose. However, everyone present shook their heads with bitter smiles. They all knew the truth, even that Tsuchikage and Rikage. But why were they still pointing fingers at Konoha and cursing them? It was all about interests. Danzo, have you recently found out who that main Gekkai Sharingan user is from the Uchiha clan? Hiruzen Sarutobi frowned, looking at Danzo who was deep in thought beside him, and asked. Uchiha Shin. Have you found that name? No. Danzo shook his head and said, perhaps the person with the main Gekkai Sharingan isn't even from the Uchiha clan. However, Hiruzen Sarutobi's face showed disappointment, not only for Danzo's indifference, but also for his good friend's sudden change. He would never have said something like perhaps it before. This time, he actually. The Uchiha clan. Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed, taking a drag of his cigarette, and said, what should Konoha do this time? This is a logging operation involving three great ninja villages. One slip in Konoha could be finished. Who said the first and second Hokage left them such a large legacy, but even they couldn't withstand the three great ninjas? They did it on purpose, Kahoru Udatane said, frowning. To slow down Konoha's progress in this war. Otherwise, why would they have immediately believed Hanzo of the Salamander when he claimed to be from Konoha? Wasn't it simply because Konoha was too powerful? Now, Konoha's problem isn't how to convince the other villages of our power, Kahoru Udatane said, narrowing her eyes. It's about preparing for a war against the three great ninja villages. Because you can never wake a group of people who are pretending to be asleep. How could Hanzo and the others easily believe those mysterious figures who suddenly appeared? It's because they need an excuse. But how can we resist? Hiruzen Sarutobi said worriedly. Even if we succeed in the end, Konoha will probably suffer heavy losses. This isn't just some Tom, Dick, or Harry. It's the three great ninja villages. Form an alliance. Kahoru Udatane said seriously. The three great ninja villages can form a temporary alliance, and we can also find allies. Only in this way, will Konoha's losses be shared. Moreover, the alliance of the three great ninja villages won't last long. Upon hearing Kahoru Udatane's words, Hiruzen Sarutobi narrowed his eyes. He knew what his old friend meant. The land of whirlpools? He wanted Konoha to find more allies to resist the other ninja villages. I'll ask Lady Miro about it later. Hiruzen said, his eyes narrowed, then looked up at Danzo. Also, keep an eye on the Uchiha clan's recent movements, and don't get too close. Danzo trembled upon hearing Hiruzen's words, narrowed his eyes, nodded, and said, I understand. His friend meant. It was time to abandon what needed to be abandoned. The festival in the land of whirlpools was approaching. Jun Uzumaki looked at the message coming up from below and asked what to do about the festival. Every year, as the new year approached, the Uzumaki clan would hold a festival to celebrate, partly to worship the clan's millennia-old faith, the Grim Reaper, and partly to pray for good weather and a bountiful harvest in the coming year. Because the land of whirlpools used to be a small, isolated country, practically closed off from the outside world, its only connection was Konoha. Most of its supplies were purchased from Konoha or the Land of Fire. While the people weren't particularly wealthy, they managed to survive by fishing, though not everyone was well-fed, as the average fisherman's skills, especially for sea fish, were still quite poor. Of course, besides those who didn't starve, many people in the land of whirlpools froze to death every winter. Furthermore, missions to help Konoha fight enemies were generally unpaid, so the land of whirlpools remained impoverished for a long time. Thinking about this, Uzumaki-jun couldn't help but complain about Senju Hashirama again. That troublesome guy. Because of the Konoha World Friendship Treaty he signed with the Uzumaki Clan, Konoha constantly used the Uzumaki Clan as free labor. Therefore, for a large, small, and impoverished place like the land of whirlpools, the weather had a significant impact, making festivals a major event. This time, because it was wartime again, the people below came to inquire whether a festival should be held this year. After all, the last Great War was also at the end of the year, and the Uzumaki clan had cancelled their festival. How is the atmosphere in the country lately? Uzumaki-jun put down the documents in his hand and asked Uzumaki Hibiki beside him. There shouldn't be any unexpected events, right? Although the land of whirlpools is some time away from the mainland, the unusual atmosphere can still be felt in the country. After all, a considerable number of foreign merchants come to the land of whirlpools to do business every year, especially this time because of the 3 great ninja villages gathering troops in the land of rain. Most of these foreign merchants have left. Anyone can see that something is wrong. Yes, although the people were initially uneasy about the merchants' departure, Hibiki Uzumaki nodded, it didn't have a significant impact on the land of whirlpools. Has everyone been informed about the renewed war in the ninja world? Jun Uzumaki asked, resting his chin on his hands. This won't last long. If the land of whirlpools truly falls into war, it will be a nationwide conflict, because only by relying on the strength of the entire nation can the land of whirlpools survive the chaos of the 5 great ninja villages conflict. Therefore, psychological preparations for war must be made in advance. I've already notified officials in all regions, Hibiki Uzumaki said. At first, although surprised, everyone gathered at the relevant agencies, asking if there was anything they could do to help. Even a 70-year-old man came shakily with a cane to ask. Wanting to contribute to protecting the land of whirlpools, Hibiki Uzumaki smiled slightly. In the end, the local police and officials persuaded them to go home. This feeling is really good. Even when the Uzumaki clan ruled the land of whirlpools, they weren't so beloved, but now. Uzumaki Hibiki glanced at Uzumaki-jun, who was deep in thought, a smile playing on her lips, her heart filled with hope. The land of whirlpools will definitely become even stronger, stronger than the 5 great nations. Yes. After hearing Hibiki's report, Uzumaki-jun nodded in satisfaction. This was the hope that national policy brought to its people. They didn't want these hopes to be shattered by enemies, so they would spontaneously strive to maintain them. Very good. Remember, no matter what, do not disrupt the order of the land of whirlpools. Uzumaki-jun stretched and said, as long as everyone still believes in the land of whirlpools, it will not perish. I've been too tired lately, so it's time for everyone to relax. Let's arrange it on the day of the festival. Chapter 2. Chapter 152. Night. Tonight is an unusual night. Although the sun has long since disappeared and a bright moon hangs in the night sky, the land of whirlpools is still brightly lit. The cylindrical things on both sides of the road look like streetlights. These things suddenly appeared last month, and at first, no one knew what they were, until that night. These cylindrical things suddenly lit up, bringing light to the previously pitch-black land of whirlpools. Now every household has one, but they don't call them streetlights, they call them table lamps. They've abandoned their old oil lamps, since table lamps are cheaper and more convenient. They don't need to buy wicks and oil anymore, they only need to buy chakra batteries. Daddy, I want that. A little girl tugged at her father's hand, pointing to something nearby. That candy. A candy with a cute cat stretching. Okay. A man in his 30s smiled and picked up the little girl, saying, Daddy will buy it for you. Smiling, he took his wife's hand and headed towards the candy shop. You. The woman shook her head helplessly at the side of her husband. You just spoil her. Eating candy so late at night, I won't take her to the dentist if she gets a toothache. It's alright, it's a festival today, a rare day off, so relax. The man smiled and shook his head, saying, Sorry, I haven't spent time with you two in a long time. It's okay. The woman smiled and took the girl from the man's arms, saying, We understand you're very busy with work. She pinched the girl's nose. Right, Yuko? Yes. The little girl nodded seriously and said, Daddy's very busy. He has to earn money to buy candy for Yuko. You little rascal. The woman and man smiled at their darling's words and shook their heads helplessly. Yes, you little glutton. The man patted the little girl's head and said helplessly, Daddy will go buy you some now. Then, he took his wife's hand and walked towards the candy shop. Today is a festival, and it's a rare day off for him. He should spend some quality time with his wife and daughter. Aside from their wedding, he hadn't been out like this in a long time, not even properly spending time with her after Yuko was born. Boss, how much is this cat-shaped candy? The man asked, picking up the candy and looking at the shopkeeper who was still busy making candy. Today is a festival, it's just... The shopkeeper looked up, but before he could finish, he saw the man in front of him and paused, saying, Officer Zongxiu. Hello. Zongxiu was also taken aback for a moment, then smiled and said, How much is this? It seemed the shopkeeper recognized him. No money, no money. The shopkeeper shook his head, saying, How could I dare take Officer Zongxiu's money? If it weren't for my brat that day, maybe. Your brat? Officer Zongxiu looked at the shopkeeper suspiciously. Could it be the person he had helped during that patrol? It's that kid, Koichi, the one with dark skin and short hair, the shopkeeper said apologetically. I really troubled you that day. Oh, you're Koichi's father? Zongxiu seemed to remember something and smiled. How were things after that day? Keep an eye on him in the future, don't let him go to such dangerous places at such a young age. Koichi, he remembered an ordinary person without any ninja talent who, because he couldn't become a ninja, was in a bad mood and went to the edge of a cliff to clear his head, but accidentally, he hung off the edge. If they hadn't found him early, he probably would have. After that day, I gave the kid a beating, the shopkeeper said cheerfully. If you want to be a ninja, then learn from that kid, Shishiro, and stick with it. Why go to such dangerous places? He's much more obedient now. Zongxiu shook his head helplessly after hearing this and said, Actually, not being a ninja isn't so bad. He looked at the candy in his hand, came back to his senses, and said, By the way, how much is this? If his daughter hadn't been tugging at his sleeve unhappily, he would have forgotten about buying candy. No money, no money, the shopkeeper laughed. This is to thank Officer Zongxiu for his help last time. No. Zongxiu shook his head and said, It wouldn't be appropriate. He took out the money. You can keep this. He decided to hand the money over to the shopkeeper directly, otherwise he didn't know how long it would take. Today was an important day for him to spend with his wife and daughter. I'll just leave it here. Zongxiu, holding his daughter, pulled his wife away, wishing the shop owner great success. Hey, no need for so much. The candy shop owner held up the money, intending to return it, but was stopped by other customers. He could only helplessly accept the money, saying, Today is the festival, everything is 20% off. Everyone should be happy after eating the candy. Phew. Zongxiu stopped, letting out a sigh of relief, and said helplessly, I almost had to break my principles. PFFT. The woman chuckled helplessly, saying, You. Zongxiu looked at his daughter with a silly grin. Come on, Daddy's exhausted, give Daddy a bite. Okay. Yuko held up the candy and said seriously, But Daddy can only have one bite. You little rascal. The mother tapped her daughter's head and said, So stingy. Because this is Yuko's. Yuko pouted, unhappy. Okay, Daddy will only have one bite. Zongxiu nodded with a smile, lowered his head, and took a bite of the candy. So sweet. So sweet. When he left Hell Valley with the clan leader, he thought they would be used as tools, but as long as they left that hellish place, it didn't matter what. He never expected, this life is so good. Here, he met the woman he loved and had a lovely daughter. And it all started in the land of whirlpools. I heard there's going to be a war. Looking at the peaceful and happy scene, the woman looked at her husband uneasily and said, Isn't it better to live a quiet life? Why does it have to be a war? Yes, there is going to be a war. Zongxiu nodded, then smiled and said, Don't worry, I will protect you and your daughter, and I believe the land of whirlpools will be fine. No one can destroy the land of whirlpools. If anyone tries to destroy all of this, I will stop them with my own life. Is there going to be a war? Yakashina now looked at the red-haired boy beside her with worry. When she was brought back, she and he were just children, but now they had both grown taller, especially the boy in front of her. He used to be about the same height as her, but now he was a head taller. And, He had become even more handsome. Glancing at Uzumaki-jun, she blushed and turned away, saying, "Won't the land of whirlpools?" "Don't worry." Uzumaki-jun smiled at Yakashina now. The malnourished, blonde girl from back then had grown into a beautiful young woman, and he'd heard that her talent for medical ninjutsu, learned from Kori, was exceptional. She was already capable of handling things on her own. "The land of whirlpools will be fine. Just like I promised you back then that life in the land of whirlpools would be good. Believe me, the land of whirlpools will become even stronger." "Yes." Yakashina now lowered her head and whispered, "I believe you, I've always believed you." Uzumaki-jun didn't notice Yakashina's odd behavior. Instead, he smiled at the two red-haired girls running around happily with Kori in the distance and asked, "So you're going to have fun too? I'll take care of the rest." "No, I like it this way." A hint of disappointment flashed in Yakashina's eyes, then she smiled and said, "This is fine too." Suddenly, Uzumaki-jun stopped, frowning as he looked to the side. "What's wrong?" Yakashina now asked, puzzled. "Is something the matter?" "Yes." Uzumaki-jun nodded, saying helplessly, "The police chief invited me for tea." "The Blood Pond Clan chief?" Yakashina now frowned and said, "If you're busy, you should leave." She knew that although he wasn't an adult yet, the fate of a nation was in his hands, so he was always very busy. "I'm sorry," Uzumaki-jun said apologetically, "I originally promised you today. You guys have fun, I'll be back in a bit." What a headache. Today was supposed to be a day off, to spend time with the girls. What could the Blood Pond Clan chief possibly want? Could he tell her tomorrow? If it's not serious, he'll definitely give him a good scolding. "It's alright." Yakashina now smiled slightly and said, "I'll keep an eye on them." "Okay." Uzumaki-jun turned around, waved to Kushina who suddenly waved at him, and said, "I'll be back soon." HMPH. The Bloodpool Clan Chief. I'll give him a good beating first. Chapter 3. Chapter 153. Someone from Konoha has arrived. Just as Uzumaki-sun was about to make a move, the head of the Blood Pond Clan spoke up directly. "The Uzumaki Clan leader sent me to see you." "So what if they were here?" Uzumaki-sun frowned and said, "Didn't I already say last time? If Konoha comes seeking an alliance, we'll ignore them." He had already said that Konoha was seeking an alliance. After all, the only ally Konoha would willingly be used by was the land of whirlpools, an ally established since the first Hokage. But, that was in the past. The land of whirlpools was different now. The land of whirlpools had even changed its social system and political direction, yet they still had the audacity to seek a common enemy. You must know that although they had been friends for generations, the land of whirlpools and Konoha had long been enemies. And on the day of the Land of Whirlpools festival, didn't they know that this was arguably the most important day for the Land of Whirlpools? After all, the Uzumaki clan's longevity was attributed to the belief that they were favored by the Grim Reaper, especially since the Uzumaki clan had a powerful technique, the Corpse Demon Sealing technique, which was related to the Grim Reaper. No matter what, the Uzumaki clan's faith is in the Grim Reaper. Could the clan leader handle it? Uzumaki soon said helplessly. What am I supposed to do here? Beat people up? He wasn't good at that. No, things aren't simple, the Blood Pond Clan chief said helplessly. They seem to be carrying a letter personally written by Lady Mido, requesting that it be delivered to you in person. Uzumaki Mido? Uzumaki soon frowned immediately, feeling helpless. What was she trying to do now? Did she know that when the Land of Whirlpools was attacked, Konoha just stood by and watched? Asking her own clan for help now was practically setting them up. Fine, I'll go take a look. Uzumaki soon said helplessly. Regardless, she helped the Land of Whirlpools with a sealing technique back then. He should still be grateful for that sealing technique incident, otherwise, would the other ninja villages be so willing to conduct experiments? They'd probably all be coming to the Land of Whirlpools to steal her now. Should we temporarily evacuate the people? The Blood Pond Clan chief asked, frowning. After all, war is a major event, and if an accident were to occur, too many people could cause trouble. No need, Uzumaki soon said, stretching. Too lazy to take a holiday, I should relax a bit. Since the Land of Whirlpools had just re-established its new government, it was still in a period of massive infrastructure construction, with very few forms of entertainment. Being constantly under tension could easily lead to problems. To ensure the people had a good time at this festival, Uzumaki soon had racked his brains. He'd pulled out all sorts of basic games like fishing, beanbag tossing, candy, and masks. As for acrobatics, that had no future in the ninja world. Every ninja could do that. He even had the Research Institute temporarily manufacture safe chakra guns for shooting games. Canceling just because Konoha sought an alliance? Huh. Konoha didn't have that kind of influence. You guys will have to work hard tonight, Uzumaki soon thought for a moment, deciding against beating them up. After all, they were still diligently on duty. Don't let the enemy take advantage of the situation. Today is the festival day. Arguably the time when the land of whirlpools is most relaxed. If other ninja villages were to do this at this time, the resulting panic would likely be quite significant. This is all for the people, the Blood Pond clan chief said firmly. I'll have my men be more careful. Uzumaki soon nodded in satisfaction. It seemed they were quite familiar with the basic principles of public security policy. If we don't have enough manpower, we can borrow some from the military. I will keep an eye on it. The Blood Pond clan chief nodded, hesitated for a moment, and then said, if the Blood Pond is of any use. They were quite satisfied with their current life, except that the Minister of Finance kept coming to collect debts. Although the amount borrowed was a bit large, they could take it slowly. During their time living in the land of whirlpools, the Blood Pond clan had grown considerably. The new generation had revitalized the Blood Pond clan, so they didn't want their peaceful life to be disturbed. Uzumaki soon paused, patted his shoulder, and said, don't neglect your son's ideological education? The Blood Pond clan chief was taken aback. What happened to Yen? It's alright, what I meant was that you and the Kamikaze clan can't show yourselves right now, Uzumaki soon said helplessly. After all, you've already been wiped out. If the other ninja villages suddenly found out that the Kamikaze clan and the Blood Pond clan had appeared in the land of whirlpools, it would probably trigger a war between the 5 great ninja villages. That's why he made the Blood Pond clan wear sunglasses when using bloodstained souls. Otherwise, anyone could guess that the Akatsuki organization was connected to the land of whirlpools. Uzumaki soon patted the Blood Pond clan chief on the shoulder, telling him to be careful, and then used the Flying Thunder God technique to teleport directly to the clan chief's office. He wanted to see what Konoha was up to. To the group of Konoha people who came seeking an alliance, the Uzumaki clan chief just nodded happily, but once they mentioned requesting an alliance, he shook his head helplessly. The land of whirlpools didn't have the ability. After the battle where the land of whirlpools fought against Kurigakure, one of the 5 great ninja villages, they hadn't recovered yet, so the land of whirlpools couldn't help them. Moreover, the land of whirlpools had no obligation to help Konoha. Then, seeing the angry yet hesitant expression on the faces of the Konoha visitors, the Uzumaki clan chief felt a surge of satisfaction. He remembered that day he saw Konoha's help. Wasn't it the same? You were willing to abandon the land of whirlpools for the sake of peace in the ninja world, so can the land of whirlpools. Actually, the land of whirlpools is also a lover of peace. Clan Chief Uzumaki, said the middle-aged man with a pineapple-shaped hairstyle from Konoha helplessly, it's a matter of mutual dependence. If Konoha can't withstand the pressure, the land of whirlpools will be in trouble too. It's alright, we believe Konoha will be fine, the Uzumaki clan chief said righteously. Konoha is one of the 5 great ninja villages, the village that produced the god of shinobi. How could anything happen to it? I'm speechless. Narashikasa cursed inwardly, but he was also filled with helplessness. He didn't want to take on this mission at all. No matter how you looked at it, the Senju clan was far better than him. The Hokage's secretary. But because of some actions by the village, the Senju clan chief claimed to be unwell at home and unable to move. So, in the end, he came anyway. Where is Prince Shun? Narashikasa decided to stop arguing and hope that Lady Miro's letter would be helpful. It was too embarrassing, the man was completely unyielding. While he nodded no matter what she said, he shook his head and cried when it came to an alliance. Konoha had made a mistake back then, but so many years had passed. If Konoha were to suffer, Uzumaki would be in serious trouble, and if Uzumaki were to suffer, cough cough. Konoha and Uzumaki were supposed to be friends for generations. Wasn't that what they always said? Prince Shun has been very busy lately, the clan had said with a smile, narrowing his eyes. So you'll probably have to wait a while. However, he was also somewhat dissatisfied. Why was Lady Mito getting involved at this time? Did she want Uzumaki to get involved in this mess? Those were the 3 great ninja villages plus a demigod of the ninja world. Was it something a small country like Uzumaki could get involved in? And then, Does Grandma Mito have any letter for me? Chapter 154 Konoha 1 against 2, No Fear. Uzumaki-jun stared at the letter from Uzumaki Mito with a strange expression, inwardly sighing helplessly. Just as he expected, Mito still couldn't let go of Konoha. So, the letter implored the land of whirlpools to help Konoha resist the 3 great ninja villages in a mega cure. Then came a long passage about the peace ideals left by the god of shinobi, how Konoha longed for peace and had always been committed to protecting the peace of the ninja world, and how this was only out of necessity. Then came the tedious platitudes about Konoha and the land of whirlpools mutually supporting each other. Uzumaki-jun's head ached from reading it. This motivational rhetoric made him nauseous. Anyone knows that Hashirame's peace ideals are toxic, whoever adopts them is doomed. Peace achieved through everyone contributing a little love? No matter how you look at it, Madara's matrix is more realistic and more likely to achieve peace than Hashirame's ideals of love. It wasn't that Uzumaki-jun underestimated the saintly ideas of the god of shinobi, but most people in the ninja world are ordinary people with desires. Of course, this time Lady Mito wasn't asking the land of whirlpools to provide free support to Konoha, she was paying for it, but the reward was truly. Hashirama Senju did 3 stupid things in his life. The first was establishing the one country, one village policy, successfully turning what were originally small-scale clan feuds into large-scale international brawls. The second was selling the tailed beasts. Just thinking about a black-haired girl leading a non-mainstream girl on the path of collecting tailed beasts makes Jun Uzumaki feel a little pained. While shouting "Become my Pokemon," he was selling them off like livestock. The tailed beasts must have been internally devastated. The third was successfully converting clan-based secret techniques into village-based ones. His brother, Tobirama Senju, also selflessly dedicated his life's worth of experimental research and ninjutsu to Konoha. And then, a certain monkey used these 2 forbidden techniques to win people's hearts. Until later, the Uchiha clan's secret techniques and the Uzumaki clan's secret techniques appeared in Konoha, but the Sarutobi clan's secret techniques and the Shimura clan's secret techniques were nowhere to be found. So, ever since the 3rd Hokage, Konoha has always coveted the secret techniques of other clans, while his own ninjutsu, created by the professor of ninjutsu, he felt it wasn't worthy of being included. What really bothered Jun Uzumaki was that Mito Uzumaki included Hashirama's wood release and Tobirama's water release techniques as payment, omitting any forbidden techniques. Sigh. It's unclear whether this was Mito's decision or the decision of the Sarutobi Quartet. It perfectly addresses the current problem facing the land of whirlpools, a shortage of ninjutsu. When establishing the academy, Jun and his group discovered a problem. There were simply too few ninjutsu of each type, and the Uzumaki clan, they specialize in sealing techniques. They only knew a couple of water release techniques. Finally, they managed to solve the problem by exchanging a little from the system, scraping together bits and pieces from here and there. However, it was still too little. It wasn't that Jun was stingy and didn't want to exchange for a complete set from the system, but there were too many, and they were too expensive. Leaving aside the complete set of wood release techniques, the water release techniques would be incredibly helpful to the land of whirlpools. Uzumaki-jun narrowed his eyes, muttering to himself, "Not enough, this isn't enough." He handed Miro's letter to the clan head. At least he needed to gather all 5 elemental C-rank ninjutsu. The Uzumaki clan head took Jun's letter, glanced at it, and also narrowed his eyes. He understood Jun's meaning. "Ah, Lady Mito." The Uzumaki clan head sighed, a nostalgic expression on his face, saying, "I remember how friendly the Senju and Uzumaki clans were when we were children. Now, Konoha and the land of whirlpools are also very friendly." Narashikasa felt a sudden unease upon hearing this. Did they still refuse Konoha's conditions? Yes. The Uzumaki clan had nodded, narrowing his eyes, saying, "Konoha and the land of whirlpools have been friends for generations." Then, Narashikasa felt a surge of excitement. Could it be that his mission was finally complete? However, the land of whirlpools is too weak and too poor right now, the clan chief said with a bitter smile. "I'm afraid we can't." Hearing this, Narashikasa's heart skipped a beat. That's why he hated doing these troublesome things. "What are the land of whirlpools' conditions?" Narashikasa said with a headache. "If they can agree, Konoha will agree." He could tell that the land of whirlpools wasn't satisfied with the price. A complete set of 5 elemental ninjutsu, and a fee of 1 billion, the Uzumaki clan chief immediately said righteously. "The land of whirlpools is poor right now. Damn it. Narashikasa cursed inwardly. This price was too outrageous. This price is too. Narashikasa said helplessly. Konoha might not be able to agree. Let's bargain, the Uzumaki clan chief said casually. Ask your Hokage first. Anyway, the land of whirlpools isn't in a hurry. They can wait. But we're in a hurry. Damn it. Narashikasa cursed inwardly and said, please wait a moment, I'll have someone report the conditions of the land of whirlpools to the Hokage. Alright, then please wait a moment in the land of whirlpools. The Uzumaki clan chief nodded and said, Hibiki. Yes, clan chief. Uzumaki Hibiki closed his memo and stepped forward, saying, what are your orders? Arrange for our future allies to rest. The Uzumaki clan chief waved his hand and said, remember not to neglect them. Uzumaki Hibiki narrowed his eyes, nodded, and said, understood. He knew what the clan chief meant. They were to be placed in a prisoner of war camp, to prevent them from running around. Konoha. What do you think? Sarutobi Hiruzen took a drag of his cigarette and said, should we agree to the conditions of the land of whirlpools? He sighed inwardly. Meetings had been happening frequently lately. The land of whirlpools conditions are simply. Kahoryuta Tane put down the documents in her hand, frowning as she said, Konoha will absolutely never agree to this. They should have used Masters and the first Hokage's ninjutsu scrolls as conditions in the first place. Otherwise, why would the land of whirlpools make such an outrageous demand? They were already extorted because of Danzo last time, and now they're trying to extort them again? What do they take Konoha for? How? Hiruzen Sarutobi shook his head with a wry smile. He wanted to as well, but when he went to Lady Mito, it was her request, otherwise, she wouldn't have the face to write a letter. As for the Senju clan. The Senju clan. A glint flashed in Hiruzen Sarutobi's eyes as he said helplessly, there's no time left. According to the intelligence team, the main force of Kumagakure has already begun its march towards the land of rain. This. Kahoryuta Tane and Miro Kataka exchanged a glance, sighed, and said, this request is far too demanding. Sigh. In that case. Hiruzen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette, his eyes narrowing, and said, Konoha can only give them C-rank 5 attribute ninjutsu, and only 500 million bounty, but the land of whirlpools needs to at least hold off 2 ninja villages for Konoha. As for the remaining 2 ninja villages, Konoha fighting 2 against 1, they could barely win. Chapter 2. Chapter 155 Things that can't be solved with your own money. Fight 2. Uzumaki soon narrowed his eyes, looking at the conditions Konoha had offered. He didn't expect Konoha to completely agree to their demands. This was already quite good, so he had the clan head sign the contract. Originally, he planned to wait until the war was over before going to the land of rain, but now, getting a ticket in advance was troublesome. Sun-chan. However, the Uzumaki clan head and elders all looked worried. These were 2 ninja villages. Could the land of whirlpools withstand them? Shouldn't the land of whirlpools be playing it safe right now? Why suddenly agree to Konoha's demands? What if we gave Tsunagakure and Omegakure 200 million each? Would they agree and cheer us on? Uzumaki soon sighed, saying, what if we wait a few months, until Konoha finishes fighting Iwagakure and Kumagakure, before making our move? The people in the conference room exchanged bewildered glances. Such a move. They were immediately filled with respect. No wonder he became a cage-level ninja at the age of 7. They'll agree, Kakuzu said dismissively. Tsunagakure and Omegakure are just 2 penniless bastards. Why the war? It's all about profit. Now someone's paying them to attend and watch. They can make money and weaken Konoha, Iwagakure, and Kumagakure. Why wouldn't they agree? They're probably secretly thrilled. Besides, you can imagine how poor Tsunagakure and Omegakure are. Suddenly receiving a windfall isn't a reason for them not to act, it's just that they have to wait until Konoha, Iwagakure, and Kumagakure are both weakened before they intervene. It's just that they haven't even had a chance to enjoy the money before giving it away. It's a bit painful. Kakuzu wondered if he should ambush the people transporting the money on the way 200 million. How many S-rank missions would that take? But, sigh, that's 200 million. Uzumaki-jun stroked his chin and said, looks like Kakuzu and I have to make another trip. Selling the weapons to Tsunagakure might bring the money back soon, or even make a fortune. Won't Konoha be dissatisfied with this? The clan chief asked worriedly. After all, ninjas are known for their integrity. Those who break their promises become wandering ninjas and are hunted down. If the reputation of the land of whirlpools suffers, it would be a huge loss. It's alright, aren't we holding off the Sands Village and the Rain Village? As for reputation, the land of whirlpools doesn't rely on taking on missions for money, so it's not a problem. Besides, they have a secret weapon for prestige. White Zetsu is a good comrade. Uzumaki soon remarked with emotion. Now, the land of whirlpools enters war preparation. Uzumaki soon looked at everyone present with a serious expression. Pass down the word, there's still only one rule. We don't need to risk our lives for Konoha. If things look bad, retreat immediately. Also, have the Whirlpool Ninjas recruit refugees in the Land of Rain. They've already received half the deposit, so even if something goes wrong, the Land of Whirlpools won't lose out. Moreover, this is the only way to safely enter the battlefield, otherwise, if the Whirlpool Ninjas wander around the Land of Rain before the war ends, they could easily get into trouble. This time, they entered the battlefield under the guise of helping, while other ninja villages were fighting. The Land of Whirlpools was saving the ninja world, saving millions of impoverished people. Shouldn't this be publicized? Yes. Early 32nd year of Konoha. The year had just passed, marking the start of the Second Shinobi World War, with the three great ninja villages in the Land of Rain officially declaring war on Konoha. Konoha was short-handed due to fighting on two fronts. The Cloud Village, being too far away, was fighting directly on the upper border of the Land of Fire, hoping to divert Konoha's military forces. As Konoha's ally and partner of justice, the Land of Whirlpools couldn't bear to see Konoha, the peace ambassador of the ninja world, suffer such a great disaster, even though Konoha had made a mistake. However, the Land of Whirlpools still resolutely supported Konoha as a volunteer army, joining the war. They called themselves a group of peace-loving ninjas who yearned for peace. Despite the past treatment they received from Konoha, the Land of Whirlpools remained steadfast in their friendship with Konoha. Their bond with Konoha dates back to the time of the god of shinobi, Hoshirama Senju, a long and enduring friendship. Therefore, they would never stand by and watch Konoha be bullied by four other ninja villages. Even before the war began, the Land of Whirlpools' benevolence had spread throughout the ninja world. The higher-ups knew Konoha had treated the Land of Whirlpools like a subordinate, yet the Land of Whirlpools had set aside past grievances to help Konoha. It seemed foolish. But such an ally was what everyone longed for in a time of war. Didn't you see Konoha felt ashamed? Now even ordinary people in Konoha were praising the Land of Whirlpools' benevolence. Because of the war, the once peaceful village of Konoha had become tense. All the ordinary people were marveling at how good an ally Konoha truly was. They hadn't abandoned them in this time of crisis, leaving them both moved and ashamed. It was truly remarkable that such a small country could uphold benevolence. And what about Konoha? They heard that the Land of Whirlpool seemed to have abandoned Konoha during World War I, and they felt ashamed for Konoha's leadership. If Konoha had won this war, they would have owed the Land of Whirlpools a huge favor. So who spread these rumors? The Hokage looked at the message from his subordinate, rubbing his head in exasperation. He not only had to oversee the war effort but also maintain harmony within Konoha. It was a real headache. Still no clue. The Anbu-junin shook his head and said, they seem to have appeared in the village out of nowhere. Hearing the Anbu's reply, Hiruzen Sarutobi rubbed his forehead in exasperation. The Land of Whirlpools was too shameless. Haha, did they offer their services for free? They wanted money, they wanted money. These rumors portrayed the Land of Whirlpools as so noble and righteous. It was truly. Hiruzen Sarutobi had something he had to say. Pass down the order to stop the rumors from spreading further. Finally, Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed helplessly and said, and investigate the source of the rumors. This is wartime, we can't afford any accidents. Yes, sir, the Anbu nodded in response. Watching the departing Anbu, Hiruzen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette, frowning and muttering, the troops should have reached a megacure by now. He wondered what the situation was like. What is Danzo doing now? Suddenly, an Anbu ninja appeared in a flash. At the Uchiha clan? Hiruzen Sarutobi was taken aback by the Anbu ninja's words. What is he doing at the Uchiha's place again? Don't worry. Danzo looked at the Uchiha clan head with righteous indignation and said, Konoha will not wrong an innocent person, nor will it let an innocent person go unpunished. I believe your Uchiha clan is innocent, so you can relax. Don't make any rash moves recently. I finally managed to get the Hokage to temporarily lift a ban on the Uchiha clan. Danzo sighed. It should be issued to you soon, Although this time it certainly won't allow too many Uchiha to leave. But you must believe that I, Danzo, will definitely help you, so that you can all move about in Konoha normally, just like other clans. Danzo looked at the Uchiha clan head with a righteous expression, practically saying, believe me, we're on the same side. I'm a good person. Lord Danzo. The Uchiha clan head was utterly bewildered upon hearing Danzo's words. What were these people up to? Especially Danzo, who kept coming to the Uchiha's side every few days, not to do anything wrong, but simply to promote his benevolence and fight for the Uchiha's return to the center of power. Or he'd say that Konoha was doing this for their own good, for the good of the village, so they shouldn't hold grudges. Basically, a bunch of nonsense. The Uchiha clan head was completely confused. Although their clan was known for its poker faces, they weren't stupid. And this was obvious to everyone, especially considering the Mangekyou Sharingan had appeared in the ninja world, and that Mangekyou Sharingan originated from Konoha. All the clues pointed to the Uchiha, and yet Konoha hadn't made a move? This was very unusual. So what were they trying to do? Although the Uchiha clan longed to return to the center of power, this was making him very uneasy. Thank you so much, Lord Danzo, for understanding the Uchiha so well, the Uchiha clan head said expressionlessly. We Uchiha have absolutely never deceived Konoha in the slightest. I believe you, Danzo nodded in satisfaction. Konoha believes you too. So this time, you Uchiha must do your best. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156. This is all for Mom. Black Zetsu, are we really going to listen to that brat? A group of white Zetsu surrounded Black Zetsu, saying, you know, that's not our goal. Have you completed your mission? Black Zetsu asked, frowning. He didn't want to listen to that brat either, but the brat had actually threatened him. If he didn't dare, that brat would turn into Madara Uchiha and cause trouble tonight. Black Zetsu was also helpless. He had been an undercover agent for 1,000 years, the mastermind behind the ninja world. Could he be so easily threatened by an 11-year-old child? Even if he had grown taller now, he was still not 1.8 meters tall. How could anyone believe him when he tried to impersonate Madara? So, it was better to stay hidden. To stay hidden was more important. He wasn't afraid of that brat, but he was afraid of not being able to rescue his mother. The mission his mother gave him was the most important thing, everything else was secondary. But this won't work. White Zetsu said, distressed. Madara asked us to find him a substitute, and we haven't found one yet. Did they have to let that brat be the substitute in the end? Just thinking about it was terrifying. Then they won't have a peaceful day anymore. That brat is just using them as free labor. Black Zetsu nodded and said, we really need to think of a way. Lord Madara's Rinnegan must find a successor. He had waited so many years, finally getting Indra to raise his eyes to the level just enough to save his mother. How could he give up so easily? Black Zetsu, the third son of the mother of chakra, was he someone that mere brat could threaten? Then, a white Zetsu hesitated and said, should we still film the documentary about the fourth shinobi world war that brat wants us to make? Silence fell over the room. Black Zetsu sighed and said, let's send some more white Zetsu to film it. We're not afraid of him, we're doing this to save our mother. All the white Zetsu stared at Black Zetsu, stunned. No wonder Mom made you the leader and we were the cannon fodder. They were clearly just afraid, yet they could speak so righteously. Yes, we're not afraid of him, all the white Zetsu shouted in unison. We're just trying to rescue Mom. Uzumaki-jun was unaware that Zetsu was causing trouble because he was dissatisfied with his arrangements. He was currently arranging the war in the land of whirlpools, a complex matter that couldn't be explained in a few words. Especially given his high prestige in the army, if things weren't clearly explained, the soldiers might genuinely believe they were helping Konoha, leading to a desperate fight and potential disaster. Although the land of whirlpools had paid to keep the land of rain from attacking for the next few months, who knew if they might act rashly? The Sand Village, as seen from the first Kazakage, were shameless. He just needed to wait a few months. A few months was enough for the land of whirlpools to build up its reputation and attract refugees. As for them running away in the end, The land of whirlpools was a small country with a small population. It was already quite an achievement that they could hold off two major ninja villages for so long. Konoha would understand. After all, Konoha and the land of whirlpools had a long-standing friendship. Furthermore, the weapons need to be delivered to Megakure and Tsunagakure in batches. Otherwise, what if they get carried away by the fact that they've acquired such powerful weapons? Even though they're just some defective products. Kakuro, Kai, you know the real objective of this mission, right? Uzumaki-jun said, looking at his right-hand men. Don't let the men below foolishly risk their lives. This time, Kakuro and Kai will each lead a group of Uzumaki ninja to the battlefields of Megakure and Tsunagakure. The number isn't large, because the land of whirlpools really doesn't have many ninjas right now. So in the end, they'll still use Shadow Clone Jutsu and Transformation Jutsu. It's just a show anyway. With fewer people, they can retreat quickly if anything unexpected happens. Also, remember to protect the medical ninjas. Uzumaki-jun said helplessly. Medical ninjas are a real treasure to the land of whirlpools. After all, medical ninjas have even fewer ninjutsu. Kakuro and Kai nodded knowingly, their faces showing that they understood and would definitely not let anything happen to them. Just as Soon shook his head helplessly and was about to explain. Brother Soon. A familiar voice, tinged with dissatisfaction, came from behind. Uzumaki Kai and Uzumaki Koki quickly composed themselves and said seriously, we guarantee to complete the mission. They hurriedly left, otherwise innocent people might be implicated. Kushina. Uzumaki Soon looked helplessly at Uzumaki Kushina, who was walking over with a pout and an unhappy expression. What's wrong? Did someone upset you? Tell me who it is, and I'll beat them up for you. Yes. Kushina pouted unhappily, staring at Uzumaki Soon, and said, You. How could that be? Uzumaki Soon looked away and said cautiously, You must have misunderstood. It's you. Kushina exclaimed, Kyoko and Nanao can go out, why can't I? They are medical ninjas going to help. Uzumaki Soon said helplessly, besides, it's a battlefield, dangerous and not fun. Actually, Uzumaki Soon didn't want those two girls to go either. After all, the battlefield is unpredictable, and who knows what might happen. Finally, unable to resist their pleas, and after hearing from their teacher that their medical skills were already quite good, only lacking in experience, he decided to send them. After all, clinical experience is crucial for doctors, and the land of whirlpools was currently peaceful, only able to treat headaches, colds, and diarrhea, not suitable for them to gain experience. The land of rain was just right. Long-term war had left its people starving and freezing, a large number of sick people. They could accompany the army, treat refugees, and build reputation, as they would eventually be needed for leadership positions in the land of whirlpools. I can help too, Kushina said, her eyes darting around. I'm a ninja now, I can definitely be of help. She proudly raised her head, puffing out her chest. However, Amir Jinan was just cannon fodder on the battlefield. Although he had instructed the whirlpool ninjas to flee at the first sign of danger, who knew what might happen? He was still worried about Kushina getting hurt. Moreover, Soon also gave each of Xiangzi and Nanao a special kunai, so they could react quickly if anything happened. As for Kushina, Soon was worried she'd get bored and misbehave behind the battlefield. No. Soon shook his head seriously, it's too dangerous. But. Kushina lowered her head unhappily, I want to help you too. Xiangzi and Nanao could help very well, but she. Sigh. Soon's heart softened. And he said earnestly, how about this, I'll take you with me, but you absolutely can't misbehave, you have to stay by my side. Hearing Soon's words, Kushina quickly nodded happily, I love you the most, Soon Lee. Then, she hugged Soon and kissed him, happily skipping away. This girl. Uzumaki-jun touched his cheek, shook his head with a smile, really. In the early years of Konoha 32, not long after the war began, the aid from the land of whirlpool set off in a grand procession. Chapter 157, Using all national resources to help Konoha. Konoha. Have you heard? The land of whirlpools has sent all its ninjas to support Konoha. Yes, I know that. My maternal grandmother's brother's friend's sister's nephew is a businessman. He came to Konoha yesterday and told me about it. That force. It's huge. I heard even ordinary people from the country were conscripted to fight. Isn't that very dangerous? How can ordinary people be a match for ninjas? Sigh, there's no other way. The land of whirlpools is just a small country. It's impossible for them to withstand 2 ninja villages, so they have to send ordinary people to the battlefield. The land of whirlpools is truly benevolent. So, they still haven't found out who's spreading rumors in Konoha. Hirozen Sarutobi frowned as he looked at the documents passed down to him. Did the police find anything either? Yes, Hokage-sama. The Anbu Jonin knelt down on one knee and said, these rumors seem to have appeared in the village out of nowhere. What about the outsiders, the businessmen? Hirozen Sarutobi took a puff of his cigarette and said, have they investigated these people? It's all been investigated, said the Anbu Jonin. Recently, all outsiders entering the village have been thoroughly checked. Sigh, go, Hirozen Sarutobi sighed. Continue to intensify the crackdown. We must find the person hiding in the shadows. Yes, the Anbu Jonin replied, then vanished in a flash. Hirozen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette, looking at the intelligence report in his hand, feeling somewhat worried. Although he knew these rumors were definitely related to the land of whirlpools, the person who could spread rumors so secretly within Konoha was no ordinary person. Even the elite Anbu and the guards hadn't discovered a single clue. Who could it be? This was wartime, and yet there were restless individuals hiding in the village. This was a major hidden danger for Konoha. The land of whirlpools. Hirozen Sarutobi frowned, muttering, what are they trying to do? Just then, Hokage-sama, the head of the Senju clan, requests an audience. An Anbu member knocked and entered, saying, the land of whirlpools. The atmosphere of war still affected this overseas island nation, but the people were not afraid of the war. They continued to work with high spirits, because they believed that the land of whirlpools would protect them, and that His Highness soon would protect them. Just as it was written in the constitution of the land of whirlpools. The land of whirlpools is your strong backing. Be careful lately. The head of the Blood Pond clan, Maya Sherman, wearing the uniform of the land of whirlpools Public Security Bureau, said seriously, be careful when patrolling, but don't disturb ordinary people. Also, be careful not to let enemy village ninjas invade. Understood. All the policemen shouted with their chests puffed out. Seeing everyone's high spirits, Maya Sherman nodded in satisfaction. It was truly not easy for the Blood Pond clan to have such a peaceful life now. Even when the clan was powerful, life was not as happy as it was now. They all seemed to have discovered the meaning of their lives, which was, to protect the land of whirlpools. If anyone tries to break it, they will protect it with their lives, just like the red banner hanging high in the police station lobby says, defend the home and country, clan chief. A clan chief from the Blood Pond clan walked in, about to speak, but was glared at by Miyagi Shiraman and quickly changed his words, saying, Chief, the Divine Crane clan requests an audience. The Divine Crane clan? Miyagi Shiraman was stunned upon hearing his clansman's words. He knew of the Divine Crane clan. They were originally a large clan in Iwagakure, but due to their unauthorized actions, they were having a hard time in the village and had come to the land of whirlpools like them. But what were the Divine Crane clan doing here? They had already paid off that black-faced demon's debt by selling honey. Thinking of this, Miyagi Shiraman inwardly cursed the finance minister of the land of whirlpools. The Blood Pond clan wasn't refusing to pay back their money, they were just paying it off more slowly. Sigh, why doesn't anyone in the Blood Pond clan know how to control bees? Maya Shiraman sighed inwardly, but looking at his clansmen with their high spirits, a smile appeared on his face. Actually, this kind of life is already quite good. Let them in, Maya Shiraman said seriously. As for you, go back to your posts. Remember, don't let me down during this period, otherwise even if His Highness soon spares you, I won't. Understood. Go to work. Maya Shiraman waved his hand and said. At this moment, the patriarch of the Divine Crane clan also walked in with his clansmen. Oh, Chairman Divine Crane, so you have some free time? Maya Shiraman sat down at his seat, took a sip of the tea that had just appeared in the country, and felt a pang of pain in his heart. This tea was really expensive. Come, have some tea. Director Maya Shiraman. Divine Crane Aob smiled and took the tea, ignoring Maya Shiraman's sarcasm. He was jealous. He had been in debt for 5 years and still hadn't paid it off. He had heard that every now and then, a black-faced person would come to collect the debt. As for the chairman, he learned business management from His Highness soon, so he transformed the Shen clan into a family business, adopting the management model from the books, and following His Highness Soon's advice, he is slowly building his own brand. His Highness soon said that the Shen clan will eventually appear openly in the ninja world, and then their Shen Fang brand honey will be sold throughout the entire ninja world. And this management seems quite good. Speak. Maya Sherman looked at the spirited Shen Kingfin. They are all clan leaders, they all submitted to the land of whirlpools, so why are their developments so different? Indeed, mastering a skill is very important. What brings you to the police station all of a sudden? Miyajo asked. You're not really here to have tea, are you? No, I'm here today to do my part for the land of whirlpools, Shintaro Abe said earnestly, putting down her tea. Neither of us wants anything to happen to the land of whirlpools. We don't need you, Miyajaman said, his expression turning serious upon hearing the Shintaro clan's words. Our police station is enough for the country. We will protect the land of whirlpools. Could the Shintaro clan be here to slap me in the face? Don't mind it. Seeing Miyajaman's displeased expression, Shinsuk Abe shook his head with a wry smile and said, Our Shinsuk clan doesn't look down on the Blood Pond clan. We are all citizens of the land of whirlpools, and we should help each other. The Shinsuk clan's bee controlling ninjutsu is very useful for vigilance, investigation, and training. Hearing Shinsuk Abe's words, Miyajaman fell silent. Indeed, what he said made a lot of sense. With Shinsuk Abe's help, things would be easier, and efficiency would increase. But, why did he feel a little annoyed? Did the Blood Pond clan have any unique skills? Oh, no. Interrogation is their specialty. How about it? Shen Kingfang said earnestly, we don't mean anything by it, we just don't want our peaceful life to be disrupted. That's right. Maya Sherman smiled at the Shen clan, narrowing his eyes, and said, as citizens of the Whirlpool country, we should help each other. Seeing that the Blood Pond clan chief was no longer stubborn, Shen Kingfang smiled and was about to say that he would arrange for his clansmen to assist them when they returned. So, can the Shen clan borrow some money? Maya Sherman said helplessly, that black-faced devil has been bothering me a lot lately by collecting debts. He keeps coming to his house every few days, doesn't he care about the face of the Blood Pond clan chief? Chapter 1. Chapter 158 Stop going to collect debts every few days. Jun Uzumaki was unaware that the director of the Land of Whirlpools was so poor he had to borrow money to pay off his debts. He was currently rushing to the Sand Village with Kakuzu, as this situation needed to be resolved before the army arrived in the Land of Rain. Otherwise, the Sand Village might mistakenly believe that the Land of Whirlpools was there to help Konoha, which would be troublesome. Although the ninja world was currently publicizing the Land of Whirlpool's benevolence, Jun Uzumaki knew nothing about it. He wondered where these rumors had come from. He sighed inwardly. It seemed the Land of Whirlpool's reputation had spread throughout the entire ninja world, and everyone was jealous of Konoha for having such a foolish ally. Sigh, this is a real headache. Jun Uzumaki shook his head helplessly. I never thought I'd be giving money to another ninja village. So why give them money? Why don't we just destroy their village? Kakuzu said with a pained expression. That's 400 million. Kakuzu had been in the ninja world for so many years and had never given money to anyone before. This time, he was about to break his own rule. Hearing Kakuzu's words, Uzumaki-jun rolled his eyes. You really think you're evenly matched with a god of shinobi? Even if the two of them could wipe out Tsunagakure and Omegakure in a short time, he wouldn't do it this way. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the 3 great shinobi villages logging, but the 5 great shinobi villages invading Uzuki country. Uzuki country is small and sparsely populated, it can't withstand any major war. Things that can be solved with money don't count, especially since this money doesn't even belong to Uzuki country. Don't worry, Uzumaki-jun said with a smile, I brought you out because I plan to collect the money later. As long as Tsunagakure buys scientific weapons, the money will simply go from one hand to the other, at most Uzuki country will earn less. But people, that's what Uzuki country lacks right now. For Uzuki country to develop, a large population is essential. Sigh. Kakuzu said helplessly, but we still lost money. Oh well, never mind this miser. Anyway, he's quite good at managing finances in the Land of Whirlpools, it's just, don't keep running to the Blood Pond clan chief every few days, Uzumaki-jun said helplessly. They've already complained. They're not owing money and not paying it back, they're just paying it back a little slowly. We need to continue building a large number of houses soon, Uzumaki re-shouted to the people working, clapping the paper stick in his hand. Some refugees will be coming over then, so don't embarrass the Land of Whirlpools. As the father of the former and current daimyo of the land of whirlpools, he couldn't let his son down. So he had to prepare food, clothing, shelter, and transportation, otherwise, it would be troublesome if problems arose. Minister Lee, a young man asked, looking at Uzumaki Lee, will Prince soon bring people back to the country? Of course, Uzumaki Lee said proudly, Little Soon has been working hard to ensure everyone has enough to eat and wear, and for the peace of the ninja world. Yes, the young man said with admiration, Prince Soon is an amazing person, like a god. Alright, Uzumaki Lee smiled upon hearing someone praise his son, but still said seriously, get to work, and stop with the flattery. Looking at the group of people before him, most of them were refugees who had come to the land of whirlpools after the last Great War. They were no longer the emaciated, ragged people they had been when they first arrived. In the land of whirlpools, as long as you weren't lazy, you wouldn't starve. The land of whirlpools was short of manpower right now. By the way, Juju, I heard you bought a house and are getting married. Uzumaki Ri said, looking at the young man from earlier. That's amazing, buying a house so quickly. Juju scratched the back of his head and chuckled awkwardly, I only paid the down payment, I haven't paid it off yet. That's great. Uzumaki Ri patted Juju's shoulder and said, treat me to a drink later. Really? Hearing Uzumaki Ri's words, Juju immediately became excited and stammered, What's wrong? You don't want to? Uzumaki Ri frowned, but her eyes were still smiling, and said, you won't even buy me a drink? No, I'm just too excited. Juju quickly shook his head and said anxiously, Alright. Uzumaki Ri shook her head and stopped teasing Juju, smiling as she said, now focus on your work, otherwise you won't be able to pay off the mortgage if you lose your job. Juju nodded with a silly grin and said, understood, I'll work hard. Seeing that Uzumaki Rin hesitated for a moment, he finally decided to speak. Minister Rin, could you be our witness at our wedding? Me? Uzumaki Rin was taken aback by Juju's words and said, what about your parents? Juju lowered his head, his voice low, if only they were still alive. Life in the land of whirlpools is truly like paradise. I hope they can be happy up there too. Sigh. Uzumaki Rin sighed, patted Juju's shoulder, and smiled, no problem, just let me know when the time comes. I'm sure your parents will be happy to see you settled down and starting a family. That's right. Juju raised his head, wiped away the tears from the corners of his eyes, and said cheerfully, they will definitely be happy. He looked up, gazing at the azure sky, a smile on his face. Mom and Dad, Juju is living a very happy life now, so you don't need to worry about me. I'm getting married in a few days, and anyone who is a citizen of the land of whirlpools can study for free. If your grandson, my son, has talent, I will make him a ninja so that he can protect our country in the future. What are you looking at? Get to work. Uzumaki Ri kicked Tomoyuki's butt and said, or I'll dock your pay. How? Tomoyuki wasn't angry at Ri's action. He dusted himself off, smiled, and went to his post, saying, no, Ri is a good person. You brat. Uzumaki Ri smiled helplessly. Get to work. We're setting sail. We're setting sail. A boy stood on the deck, stretching out his arms and shouting, the sea. Here I come. Hey brat, what are you doing? Suddenly, a red-haired middle-aged man appeared behind him, kicked him, and said, get back to work. How, Uncle Zhi? The boy rubbed his butt and said embarrassedly, I'm a little excited. Alright, you kid. Uzumaki Zhi took a puff of his cigarette and said, keep a close eye on things this time at sea, and learn as much as you can. Yes. The boy said, head held high, and then, with a fawning smile, walked over. Uncle Zhi, I heard that every time we go out to sea, we can fill the big ship completely. Is that true? Indeed. Uzumaki Shi took a drag of his cigarette and smiled. If we brought sensory ninjas, the harvest would be even greater. Even our 3 large ships wouldn't be able to hold them all. Really? Shota looked at Uzumaki Shi in surprise and asked, then why didn't you bring more ships? He knew these were huge ships he'd never seen before. They were supposedly new-style seagoing vessels from the land of whirlpools, and some of them even seemed to be able to fly. It was simply unbelievable. We don't have enough ships in the country. Uzumaki Shi said helplessly. We only brought 10 ships with us this time. We didn't dare use the rest carelessly, therefore receiving refugees when we arrive. Are there other people coming to the land of whirlpools? Shota asked. Yes. There's war everywhere outside. Uzumaki she sighed. It's only because you people in the land of whirlpools live such happy lives. Yes, war is terrible. If it weren't for the land of whirlpools, I might have died long ago. Shota nodded, shivering, as if remembering something, and said with emotion, the land of whirlpools is simply paradise. When my dad brought me here, he was very scared, worried that something would happen. Worried about what? Uzumaki she leaned against the ship's railing and said, His Highness Jun is so good to you refugees. You have food to eat, clothes to wear, and jobs. Look at the refugees who came back then, how happy they are now. Yes, thankfully we didn't go anywhere else. Shota nodded, enjoying the sea breeze, and murmured, this feels really good. So do your best. Uzumaki she patted Shota's shoulder and said seriously, don't let the land of whirlpools down. Remember, the land of whirlpools will always be your strongest support. No way. Shota patted his chest proudly, I'm a citizen of the land of whirlpools. Then, he sighed regretfully, if I weren't unqualified to be a ninja, I'd want to be one and protect the land of whirlpools on the battlefield. Haha. You brat. Uzumaki she laughed loudly, it's not that you can only protect the land of whirlpools by being a ninja, have you forgotten what Prince Jun said? We are all part of the land of whirlpools, just with different roles, so don't underestimate yourselves, like going out to sea to fish now. Then not only will the citizens of the country have fish to eat, but the refugees who come to the land of whirlpools will also have meat to eat, that's contributing to the country. Chapter 2. Chapter 159 Making an example of someone. Uzumaki Jun evaded the Sand Village guards. He didn't bring Kakuzu with him this time to discuss cooperation, after all, if two people showed up now, and then two more of the same height appeared later, it could easily cause problems. As one of the 5 great shinobi villages, Sand Village was incredibly poor. Otherwise, the first Kazekage wouldn't have shamelessly demanded a share of money and territory from Hashirama. Of course, this period didn't last long. By the time the bald-headed gangster with a tattooed dragon became the second Kazekage, Sand Village had escaped its deficit crisis. At the same time, the advent of puppetry gradually strengthened its military. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't dare to be so reckless, always playing the game of allying with Konoha and then betraying them. After infiltrating Sand Village, Uzumaki Jun appeared directly at the Kazekage building. A building made of yellow earth. The second Kazekage, Shimon, made enormous contributions to Sand Village and was the only second Kazekage to survive the First Shinobi World War. His strength was undeniable, he was definitely very strong. However, he has now entered his old age. Although Naruto doesn't explicitly state how he died, it's estimated to be around this time, since the Second War occurred when the third Kazekage took office. Looking at the aged Shimon, Uzumaki Jun immediately unleashed his aura. Since he was there to form an alliance, proper etiquette was essential, otherwise, what if they thought he was there to assassinate the Kazekage and cried for help? There were definitely Konoha spies in Tsunagakure. What if they were discovered and Konoha demanded repayment from Uzumaki? Sure enough. Who? Shimon put down the documents in his hand, frowning as he barked, trespassing on the Kazekage building. Don't be nervous. Uzumaki Jun revealed himself, spreading his hands, I mean no harm. However, Shimon ignored Uzumaki Jun's words. Sneaking into the Kazekage building, and claiming no harm? Did they really think he was senile? He immediately released his puppet, while chakra surged around him, black sand iron enveloping him. Uzumaki Jun dodged the incoming puppet technique and magnet release attacks, saying helplessly, you can't catch me. He looked at Shimon with a headache. Although he had been sneaking around, it was all for the peace of the ninja world. Why couldn't Shimon just calm down and listen to his explanation? Sure enough, tattooed gangsters are not to be trifled with, especially one with a blue dragon tattoo. Space-time ninjutsu. Resolved? Kakuzu looked at the reappearing Uzumaki Jun and asked, nothing went wrong? Nothing much, Uzumaki Jun said, spreading his hands. Except for exchanging a few blows with a gangster. Seeing that he knew space-time ninjutsu and hadn't harmed Tsunagakure, Shimon didn't call for help. He wanted to hear what he was doing in Tsunagakure, since he couldn't catch anyone. Moreover, Uzumaki Jun's exchange with Shimon made him aware of his strength and understand that only cooperation between Tsunagakure and the land of whirlpools could achieve a win-win situation. They knew their enemy was Konoha, there was no need to sacrifice each other's forces. Then, Shimon agreed, slamming his fist on the table and demanding a staggering 10 billion. Uzumaki-jun slammed his fist on the table in response, roaring, "You think I'm afraid of you just because you have tattoos?" He could only threaten him, 200 million. Take it or leave it, or Uzumaki-jun would declare war on Tsunagakure. Uzumaki-jun, would use space-time ninjutsu to take them down one by one. It would just be a waste of time. So, Shimon finally agreed. He figured he could make money, and told Uzumaki-jun he'd only give them 6 months. Tsunagakure would launch an attack on Konoha in about 6 months. 200 million for 5 months. Uzumaki-jun left satisfied. 5 months would be enough for Uzumaki-jun anyway. By then, Uzumaki-jun, being a small country with a small population, wouldn't be able to withstand the attack of the 2 ninja villages and would have to retreat. They had done their best. So, shall we go now? Hearing that Uzumaki-jun had already given the money to Tsunagakure, Kakuzu rolled up his sleeves, squinted, and said, "Shall we make 1 billion from Tsunagakure first?" "No rush." Uzumaki-jun shook his head and said, "Let's make our move later." After all, he had only just left, and the Akatsuki organization had already appeared, which would easily arouse suspicion, especially since one of them was about the same height. So, let's wait a while, let him change his insoles first, maybe get some height increasing insoles, at least make him look different from before. In early Konoha 32, before the Uzumaki ninja reached Imagakure, Kumagakure couldn't hold out any longer and launched an attack on Konoha, followed closely by Iwagakure. The 2 ninja villages attacked while shouting, "Konoha, you traitors, give us back our weapons." By now, the entire ninja world knew that Konoha had massacred entire clans and stolen their weapons. So, the war sweeping across the entire ninja world officially began. Other small ninja villages and even unknown ones started emerging, demanding Konoha return their weapons and launching attacks. While these smaller villages posed little threat to Konoha, they still diverted a significant amount of Konoha's forces. It's likely that Hirozen, Sarutobi and Danzo have memorized these villages, planning to eliminate a few as a warning to others. Otherwise, what if all the smaller villages declared war on Konoha? Konoha adopted a defensive stance towards Iwagakure and Kumagakure, but the smaller villages. "Be careful," Hirozen Sarutobi said, looking at the intelligence report in his hand. "The action must be swift, only then will the pressure on Konoha be lessened." "Understood," Danzo nodded understandingly, his face serious. "I will make the arrangements." Now was not the time to joke around with his good friend. This was a critical moment. If Konoha's power wasn't demonstrated quickly, the difficulties they would face later would be even more severe. Danzo's eyes narrowed, and a cold smile played on his lips as he said, "I'll make them regret being enemies of Konoha. It's up to you." Seeing that familiar expression, Hirozen Sarutobi nodded in satisfaction. It seemed his dark ninja, who would kill entire families at the drop of a hat, had finally returned. As for the Uchiha clan, I'll take care of them. Now, they truly needed the Uchiha clan's help. Hirozen Sarutobi sighed inwardly. Fortunately, the land of whirlpools had helped them hold back 2 ninja villages, otherwise, Konoha's problems would be far more severe. The Senju clan. She shook her head helplessly. "As expected of my teacher's family, they still love Konoha." "Have you decided?" Mito Uzumaki looked at Senju Jusui kneeling before her and sighed, "Is there really no other way?" "I'm sorry, mother." Senju Jusui prostrated himself on the ground and said sadly, "The Senju clan has to do this." Mito closed her eyes, feeling a pang of sadness for some reason, but everything she did was for Hoshirima's ideals, for the peace of the ninja world. She sighed and said helplessly, "It seems I'm really getting old." "What did you just say?" Hearing Mito Uzumaki's words, Senju Jusui raised his head, tears welling in his eyes, and said, "Thank you, mother." He wanted to do this, but he was afraid, especially when the Hokage asked his mother for. His heart sank even further. As the head of the Senju clan, he had a responsibility and an obligation to dedicate himself to Konoha, especially since the first and second Hokage were both from the Senju clan. The Senju clan is not afraid to sacrifice themselves for Konoha, but Konoha is no longer the Konoha it once was. Therefore, mother, rest assured, the Senju clan will not betray Konoha. Chapter 1. This chapter was a bit difficult to write. I wrote and deleted and wrote, and spent over 2 hours writing this chapter, and I'm still not satisfied because I can't express what I truly want to say. But I don't know how to write it anymore, So I'll just leave it at that. Chapter 160 is filled with stories of benevolence and righteousness from the land of whirlpools. War was imminent. While Konoha was locked in fierce fighting with other ninja villages, the Uzumaki forces, supporting Konoha, arrived in the land of rain. They split into two groups, with Koki and Kai each leading their respective troops to their assigned defensive lines. Regardless, Prince Sun had said they had to play their part perfectly. From this moment on, they were the Uzumaki volunteer army, fighting for the eternal friendship with Konoha. The real mission, everyone remember it. Koki said, looking at the Uzumaki ninja before him. Now, set up camp and use shadow clones to draw the attention of the other ninja villages. After all, this was a large force. What would it look like with only 1,000 or 2? They knew that even ordinary people from the Uzumaki were joining the ranks of those supporting Konoha, truly good allies of the ninja world. So, if they didn't have enough men, they'd use shadow clones. Right now, they could only use multiple invisible clone technique combined with transformation technique. The Uzumaki ninja were very adept at it. Seeing that everyone below nodded in understanding, Zimu began to assign tasks. This operation had to be conducted stealthily, avoiding the war zone of Konoha to recruit refugees. Otherwise, if discovered, they would easily face suspicion. He wondered how Prince Sun had managed to spread the word of the land of whirlpools benevolence throughout the ninja world. The problem to be solved this time was leading the refugees to the land of whirlpools. After all, the land of whirlpools was too far from the land of fire. Leading them on foot across the land of fire to the sea to catch a boat would certainly be dangerous. As for having Prince Sun use space-time ninjutsu, that was too troublesome. After all, it wasn't just a dozen or dozens of people. Prince Sun couldn't be running errands all the time. I wonder how to solve the airship issue? Zimu muttered, frowning. This time, they were coming to the land of rain by airship, of course, at Prince Sun's request. The refugees would also travel to the land of whirlpools by airship, partly for safety, and partly, to promote the airship. Although they couldn't understand why Prince Sun wanted to sell such a powerful weapon of war, even a weakened version that couldn't use chakra batteries and required ninjas to channel chakra for each flight, it was still a weapon capable of influencing the course of war. However, as ninjas, they could only diligently carry out their missions and wouldn't ask any questions. They just didn't know if everything would go as Prince Sun intended. After all, human nature is greedy, and if the 5 great ninja villages united to demand that the land of whirlpools disclose its technology, things would get complicated. Hopefully, nothing goes wrong. Zimu thought helplessly. This war had to make Konoha anxious, leaving them no time to use any other schemes against the land of whirlpools. Remember, regardless of whether these people come or not, Zimu said, narrowing his eyes, bring them all here by force. This was what Prince Sun had said. As for other ideological work, there would be specialists to handle it later. Their main task was to recruit as many refugees as possible during this time. The land of whirlpool still needed many people for its reclamation. Understood. All the whirlpool ninjas nodded in response. The land of whirlpools. There's another business deal to discuss in a few days, Uzumaki-jun said, looking at Kokuzu. It's about that airship. It was agreed during negotiations with Tsunagakure and Omegakure that the ninjas from the land of whirlpools would withdraw in 5 months. Although they were curious why the land of whirlpools, known throughout the ninja world for its benevolence, would now act this way, they understood. After all, it was Konoha. The land of whirlpools was already doing a good job by spending money to seek peace. Would they really sacrifice themselves for Konoha? How could the ninja world have such a foolish country? So, while the Kazakage and the demigod of the ninja world wore cheerful expressions, their hearts were filled with contempt. Peace bought with money would never be truly accepted, especially by Hanzo of the Salamander. He felt the same way. Although neither of them feared the 5 Kage, they had fallen to the state due to the burden of their own country's strength. However, unlike him, despite being a demigod in the ninja world, he disdained using money to buy peace. Rain Village was unafraid of any enemy, whether it was one of the 5 great ninja villages or others. Therefore, Hanzo of the Salamander secretly looked down on Uzumaki-jun. Just a kid. That was his assessment of Uzumaki-jun. Remember, making money is secondary. Uzumaki-jun rubbed his forehead, looking at Kokuzu who was excitedly making a couple of quick bucks, and said helplessly, as long as we recoup our costs, that's fine. But the 5 great ninja villages must purchase roughly the same number of airships. Don't worry. Kokuzu patted the box full of silver in front of him and said righteously, do you think I, Kokuzu, am the kind of guy who's greedy for money? Uzumaki-jun looked at Kokuzu speechlessly. You know your own business. He shook his head helplessly. If something goes wrong, the land of whirlpools will be in trouble. He ignored Kokuzu, who was still clinging to him, and told him to get lost. Then, he rested his chin on his hands and leaned back in his chair, deep in thought. He had to ensure that Konoha won this war by a narrow margin, wear down Konoha's forces, and weaken the strength of the 5 great ninja villages. After all, he already had a premonition that the Third Shinobi World War would definitely be the 5 great ninja villages attacking the land of whirlpools. The fact that the land of whirlpools recruited so many bloodstains couldn't be kept secret. Once discovered, how could the other ninja villages possibly tolerate it? Especially the Uzumaki Clan and the Blood Pond Clan recruited by the Akatsuki. They would eventually discover the connection between the land of whirlpools and the Akatsuki. But, it absolutely cannot be revealed that he is the masked man behind all this trouble. As for the Akatsuki, it's not a big problem. After all, the Akatsuki is a peaceful organization. And the masked man who committed the murders is a traitor to the Akatsuki, done by a Konoha ninja. The Akatsuki has already severed ties with him and issued a warrant for his arrest. As for the cooperation between the land of whirlpools and the Akatsuki, it's for the peace of the ninja world. In any case, the land of whirlpools' peaceful stance must not change. Therefore, this ninja war must promote the Akatsuki's noble ideals, and let the entire ninja world know that the Akatsuki is a peaceful organization. Sigh. This war must keep all 5 great ninja villages tied down, Uzumaki-jun sighed helplessly. Only by weakening the strength of the 5 great ninja villages during this period, and maintaining a brief period of peace in the ninja world, can the land of whirlpools have time to absorb and assimilate the refugees. After that, the land of whirlpools will rise to become the 6th largest nation. Therefore, war between the land of whirlpools and the 5 great ninja villages is inevitable. Where's Zetsu? Uzumaki-jun squinted at the floor, muttering helplessly, why hasn't he appeared these past few days? Zetsu is an expert at this kind of thing. A professional troublemaker in the ninja world. Zetsu's role is indispensable in weakening the 5 great ninja villages to a balance. Kirigakure. Airships? Minazuki Joy looked at the intelligence report from the spies below, muttering, the shipbuilding technology of the land of whirlpools is that advanced? He remembered this spherical object that suddenly appeared above their fleet when they invaded the land of whirlpools. He hadn't expected the land of whirlpools technology to develop so quickly. They even had airships this time. Arrange for the Anbu, Mizuki-ce said solemnly to the Mizukage's assistant. We must infiltrate the land of whirlpools and obtain the technology to build airships. The significance of this technology to Kirigakure is self-evident. Although Kirigakure is a powerful maritime nation, it is too far from the mainland. Once war breaks out, mobilizing troops will be extremely troublesome and time-consuming. If they obtain this technology, Kirigakure's chance to become powerful will arrive. Understood. The Mizukage's assistant nodded seriously. He also understood the importance of the airships. I will make the arrangements. No matter how dangerous the land of whirlpools is, this operation is necessary. But it seems we must send some elites. Chapter 2. By the way, Chapter 1 is officially available now. Chapter 161. Open the door, fellow villager. The people living in the land of rain are the most miserable. The land of rain is a magical country, a small nation where it rains every day, year-round without a break. Therefore, very few people come to the land of rain because the weather is too humid, and if not managed properly, it's easy to contract rheumatism and bone diseases. Furthermore, because its territory borders the 3 great ninja villages, its development is largely controlled by them. To prevent spies from other villages from infiltrating, the land of rain is extremely hostile to outsiders. If someone suspects you of being a spy, the result is usually. Add to that internal division and civil war, and years of conflict, and it's fair to say that the people of the land of rain live in misery, struggling and numbingly surviving in a precarious existence. We're in charge of this area, right? Kita looked around at the surroundings, comparing it to the map in his hand, and said, when will this awful weather ever stop? No way, the Uzumaki ninja next to him said helplessly. Let's wait until we get back and drink some ginger water. Although ninjas aren't necessarily prone to catching a cold, the weather in the land of rain is really weird. It rains all year round. Glancing at the still drizzling sky, he added, by the way, Kita, I heard you adopted a kid? If you ask me, you're not even married yet. How did you adopt a child? Sigh, it's a long story, Kita said with a pained expression. Let's not talk about it, finishing the mission is the most important thing. Adopted a kid my foot. For some reason, that brat Zicheng had been staying at his house instead of going to the orphanage, and then his meager salary not only had to support his girlfriend but also that of a brat. Especially since Zicheng, unable to use ninjutsu, aspired to become a taijutsu ninja, so his appetite was equivalent to that of 3 people. Fortunately, His Highness soon was kind and waived Zicheng's medical expenses for training, otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to pay his mortgage. There seemed to be people ahead. Suddenly, Yuji stopped Kita and said, they should be civilians from the land of rain. Their vitality isn't very strong. How many? Kita became serious now, cautiously scanning his surroundings, and asked, are there any ninjas nearby? This time, because they needed to speed up the recruitment of refugees, most of the sensory ninjas had joined the war, and Yuji was one of them. Not many, maybe 2 people, one of whom is a child, Yuki frowned and said. But the adult seems to be sick, his life force is fluctuating. Kita exchanged a glance with Yuki upon hearing this and decided to proceed. Their unit had brought quite a few medical ninjas specifically for this situation. Their mission, according to Prince Soon, was to take everyone they saw to the land of whirlpools. Kita followed Yuki's directions to a dilapidated wooden hut, knocked on the door, and asked, is anyone home? However, the noise inside immediately ceased. Kita glanced at Yuki, and with a firm nod, he knew the people inside were frightened by the knocking. After all, this was the land of rain, where long-term war had created instability, and a moment's carelessness could mean certain death. Therefore, they generally wouldn't open the door to strangers. But, the Whirlpool Ninja were different. How could a mere wooden door possibly stop them? Open the door, folks! Kita shouted. We are Uzumaki ninjas. We are organized and disciplined, we will never harm you. However, crack. Silence fell again. Yuki looked at Kita with a dark expression. He actually called himself a ninja? This country is what it is because of ninjas. Well, he sensed that the adult's vital signs were weakening even more, probably scared. Break down the door. Yuki said helplessly, otherwise, he'll die. If someone dies, they will be punished. Hearing Yuki's words, Kita sighed helplessly, then suddenly kicked out. Sure enough, the methods taught by Prince Soon didn't work. In the end, he still had to use force to take the person away. As for the rest, let the professionals handle it. Bang! The wooden door cracked in 2 under Kita's foot. Fellow villager. Kita and Yuki glanced at the broken door, then looked up to see a thin, blue-haired little girl standing before them, holding a knife with a terrified expression. Kita smiled and said, don't be afraid, we're not bad people. However, the little girl wouldn't listen. Her small hand gripped the kitchen knife, and she looked at Kita and Yuki with trembling eyes, saying in a fearful voice, get out of here. We are Uzumaki ninja, not bad people. Kita raised his hands to indicate they meant no harm, and said carefully with a smile, put down the knife, we won't hurt you. Little girl, Yuki also smiled and said, don't worry, we are Uzumaki ninja, an organized and disciplined force, we won't harm innocent civilians. Get out of here. The little girl gritted her teeth, her voice trembling, get out of here, ninjas. She wouldn't believe a word the ninjas said. The land of rain was in this state because of them, especially her father, who was also. She hated ninjas. I hate you all. Get out of here, the little girl shouted through tears. Because of you, you all. Kita and Yuki watched this scene with a headache. It seemed that this country was quite resistant to ninjas because of the war. Yuki winked at Kita. Kita was taken aback, nodded subtly, and then said, in that case, let's leave. He then turned around with Yuki. Seeing the ninja preparing to leave, the little girl felt a sense of relief, and her hands, which had been tightly gripping the kitchen knife, slowly loosened. Just then, little sister, you have to hold a knife tight. Kita instantly appeared beside the little girl, picked her up, and took the knife from her, smiling as he said, otherwise, it could be dangerous. Don't worry, we won't hurt you. Yuki, seeing that they had subdued the girl, also smiled, we just want to. However, before she could finish speaking, a pale-faced woman in tattered clothes emerged, leaning against the wall. Seeing the little girl being captured, she quickly knelt down in fear, saying, Ninja sir, Conan didn't mean any harm. Please let her go, if... Kita and Yuki exchanged a glance. It seemed the woman whose vital signs were fluctuating was this one. Don't worry, we mean no harm. Kita slowly put Konan down, saying, we are soldiers from the land of whirlpools, we are. However, before Kita could finish speaking, the woman collapsed to the ground. Chapter 1. Chapter 162 Contributing One's Own Strength. Kita glanced at the woman lying on the bed with a pained expression. He hadn't even finished promoting the benevolence of the land of whirlpools, and she'd already fainted? He knew that constantly promoting the land of whirlpools was an order from His Highness Jin. Helpless, worried that something might be wrong with the woman, he could only send Yuki to the camp to bring over the medical ninja to see what was happening and to carry the woman to the dilapidated bed. There really wasn't a single intact thing here. Looking at the rundown wooden house, Kita was filled with emotion. The people of the land of whirlpools used to live in houses like this. But now, the land of whirlpools no longer had such dilapidated wooden houses. After His Highness Jin invented cement, Earth-released ninjas, along with some ordinary people, could build cement houses in a very short time. So, basically everyone in the country lived in modern houses that were not only warm in winter and cool in summer, providing shelter from the wind and rain, but also very beautiful and sturdy. Perhaps some people couldn't afford to buy a house right now. For them, the benevolent prince soon also allowed the land of whirlpools to issue housing loans. Any citizen of the land of whirlpools could borrow money from the government to buy a house, and then repay a small amount every now and then, depending on the loan terms, without affecting their daily lives. So basically everyone could afford to live in a sturdy concrete house. However, even when the land of whirlpools was impoverished, they had never lived such a terrible life. This dilapidated wooden house contained practically nothing intact, it was mostly just broken pieces. Even that kitchen knife from earlier probably couldn't kill anyone. Gurgle. Just as Kita was checking his surroundings, a strange sound came. Kita turned his head, looked at the little girl holding her mother's hand tightly by the bed, and lowered his head. Hungry? Kita sighed helplessly, walked over, and said with a smile. However, Konan turned her head away, ignoring Kita. But, gurgle. Her little stomach kept growling. Kita smiled at the scene and said, looks like she's really hungry. Children shouldn't go hungry. He remembered how loudly Zichen's stomach would rumble after training. Let me see what's there. However, Kita stopped mid-sentence. He had already checked, there was nothing left to eat in this dilapidated house. Sigh. War is truly terrible. If it weren't for Prince Sun's sudden appearance, the land of whirlpools probably wouldn't be in such a good state now. But now, he could proudly say that the land of whirlpools was the happiest place. Eat this. Kita took out 2 cans of food from his ninja bag. Seeing the little girl looking at the cans curiously in his hand, he smiled and said, this is canned food from the land of whirlpools. Let me see. Oh, this is fish, and this is fruit. It seemed that because a family that could control the weather had joined the land of whirlpools, the country had had a good supply of vegetables and fruits in recent years. Canned food was invented by His Highness Sun, and he brought a large quantity with him to the land of rain. It not only prevents food spoilage but also tastes quite good. Here, have some. Kita opened a can and handed it to Konan, smiling. It tastes pretty good. Konan sniffed the aroma emanating from the can, cautiously glancing at the Uzumaki ninja in front of her. A strange feeling welled up inside her. This Uzumaki ninja seemed different. And, this strange thing in front of her smelled very good, like fish, and the other? It smelled like peaches. It smelled so good. Konan twitched her nose and swallowed hard. The aroma made her stomach ache even more. Why did this annoying ninja have to bring out food? Don't be afraid, it's not poisonous. Kita reluctantly took a bite and said, your mother will be fine too. That ninja guy. Uncle has already gone to get a medical ninja, he'll heal your mother. He placed the 2 cans in front of Konan. Eat. Konan glanced at Kita, then lowered her head, staring at the cans in front of her, swallowing hard. Eat. Kita smiled as he saw this. Don't worry, we Uzumaki ninja won't hurt you. Finally. Konan couldn't resist any more. She picked up a can, cautiously glancing at Kita, and under his smile, grabbed a piece of fish, then, she closed her eyes, making a comfortable sound. It's delicious, isn't it? Kita said with a smile, seeing Konan's expression. I have a little brat at home who loves canned fish. He always brings a few with him when we go out for training, but He has quite an appetite. Kita sighed helplessly, then pointed to another can in front of him. This one is fruit-flavored, it's a bit sweet, you should like it. Konan glanced at the fruit can, carefully put the fish can away. She had never eaten anything so delicious before. She looked at it again, picked up the other can, grabbed a slice of pre-cut fruit, and put it in her mouth. It really tasted like peach, so sweet. Peach? It tastes like peach, Konan whispered. Isn't it delicious? Kita said proudly. This was invented by His Highness soon. Delicious. Konan was silent for a moment, then finally nodded and said, it's very delicious. Then eat more. Kita smiled with satisfaction when he saw Konan nod. Eat up, a child won't grow up if they go hungry. Konan shook her head and said, I'll leave it for Mom. Hearing Konan's words, Kita sighed inwardly, took out 2 more from his ninja bag and handed them to Konan, smiling as he said, don't worry, there's more here. Just tell me if you need more. What a good child. Why is Zijing so mischievous? Konan took the cans with her little hands, looked up at Kita with her big, bright eyes, hesitated for a moment, and then asked, what are you doing here? Why are these ninjas different from the ninjas of the Land of Rain? They give them food and even treat their illnesses. What do they want? Don't they really intend to kill them? Kita paused, startled by the little girl's words, then smiled and said, Us. We're ninjas from the Land of Whirlpools. 4. Yoda. Yosuke called to Yoda beside him with a smile, remembered to get a checkup later. 5 years had passed. Although Yoda's body was still weak, thanks to proper nutrition and regular checkups, he had grown up healthily. Yosuke looked at the sky, the weather was lovely today. Perhaps he could really see Yoda get married, start his own family, and then, have a few children. Now, only the 2 of them remained in their family. Brother, sister-in-law, Yosuke murmured, gazing at the sky, Yoda and I are doing very well. Looking at the vegetable garden and orchard beside him, he knew that although the land belonged to the state, the kind and benevolent daimyo of the Land of Whirlpools, Lord Jun, had rented it to them because of their hardship. They only needed to pay taxes periodically. It was because of the Land of Whirlpools that he and Yoda were able to live such a happy life. Looks like these next few days will be a bit tough. Yu Cheng smiled. We'll definitely need more fruits and vegetables then. He believed that whoever came to this country would fall in love with it. The Land of Whirlpools was a country full of happiness and hope. Everyone was equal before the law, whether you were a ninja or a civilian, anyone who broke the law would be punished. Therefore, he wanted to contribute his own strength to this wonderful country. Chapter 2. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 The Deep Bond Between the Army and the People. Open the door, folks. We are the Whirlpool Army, an organized and disciplined force. We won't take a single needle or thread from the people. Open the door, folks. Open the door, folks. Creak. Followers, you've finally opened the door. Hurry up and take the person away. Don't take anything else. Remember, we are organized and disciplined. We will absolutely not take a single needle or thread from the people. The Whirlpool Army is bringing warmth, please open the door. Hello, your package is here. In May of Konoha year 32, when the Whirlpool Army entered the Land of Rain, they were warmly welcomed by the people of the Land of Rain. The Whirlpool Army consistently adhered to the basic strategy of the Land of Rain, coming from the masses, going to the masses, integrating into the masses, and starting everything from the masses. At the same time, the Whirlpool Army kept in mind the 3 main rules of discipline and the 8 points for attention of the Land of Whirlpool, obeying the law and not taking a single needle or thread from the people of the Land of Rain. They also helped and protected the local people, maintaining local order. The actions of the Vortex Army made the people of the Rain country feel deeply close to them, demonstrating the close bond between the army and the people, a bond that transcended personal boundaries. I feel like something's missing? Uzumaki Hibiki frowned, looking at the events she had recorded in the Rain country. Suddenly, she paused, muttering, right, there's still His Highness soon, the great leader of the Vortex country, I haven't written about him yet. She had almost forgotten the most important thing. Uzumaki Hibiki wrote it down again in her notebook. The Vortex Army always kept His Highness Sun's teachings firmly in mind, daring not to forget them in the slightest. They always remembered His Highness Sun's words, leading by example, starting from the masses, going to the masses, and integrating into the masses. The initial purpose of the Vortex Army was to serve the people. Hibiki, what have you been writing down these past few days? Zimu asked, looking at Hibiki, who was writing something. Since following His Highness Sun, my good friend seems to have changed a lot. Since arriving here, she's always carrying a pen and notebook, as if she's writing something down. Moreover, her entire demeanor has undergone a dramatic transformation. She's like a cultured person? You mean this? Hibiki Uzumaki pushed up her glasses and handed it over, saying, this is a task assigned by His Highness Sun. I'm to record all the actions of the Uzumaki army in the Land of Rain, and the reactions of the people of the Land of Rain? Is that so? Zimu was shocked. She took the diary from Hibiki, glanced at it, and then. Truly a scholar. Zimu looked at Hibiki Uzumaki with admiration, then glanced at the scene outside the tent. Hurry up, hurry up. A Uzumaki ninja shouted, what are you all dawdling for? Throw away all your junk. The land of Uzumaki doesn't lack this kind of thing. Let me tell you. Your good days are coming. After you get to the land of Uzumaki. Several people from the Land of Rain followed the Uzumaki ninja cautiously, fearing that they might lose their lives at any moment. Indeed, it's a bond as close as fish and water. Uzumaki Koki sighed, saying, it has to be written like this, the entire ninja world must see it. He remembered Prince Sun's mission. To promote a positive image of the Land of Whirlpools. Don't worry, Uzumaki Hibiki said calmly, Prince Sun said it must be truthful, without the slightest fabrication. Uzumaki Koki nodded knowingly. Prince Sun's words were always true. He then walked out with his hands behind his back. In a while, the first batch of refugees should be sent back to the Land of Whirlpools. Although these civilians from the Land of Rain were initially numb and bewildered when forcibly brought there, wondering what the Whirlpool ninjas would do to them, once they arrived in the Land of Whirlpools, they would understand what life was like. Those who have experienced war cherish peace more than anyone else, so Zimu wasn't worried that these people would resent the Land of Whirlpools. Besides, rather than staying in the Land of Rain to wait for death, it would be better to go to the Land of Whirlpools for large-scale infrastructure construction. In recent years, the Land of Whirlpools has been short of people in all walks of life, especially Lord Li, Prince Sun's father, the former daimyo of the Land of Whirlpools. People have been flocking to the clan head. It's said that it's because they can't get an audience with Prince Sun. Anyway, the Land of Whirlpools is short of people. Minami. Yuuki looked helplessly at the curious little girl beside him and said, why do you call Kita brother but call me uncle? This is really. He's a year younger than Kita, doesn't have a girlfriend, and is still a single dog. How come he's called uncle? Actually, you should call Kita uncle and me brother. Yuuki squatted down and took out a small bag from her backpack. Uncle Kita already has a child. Although he was adopted, he was still a child, so she wasn't wrong. If you call me brother, this candy is yours. You know, even Kita doesn't have this. It's very sweet and delicious. However, Konan blinked her big eyes, glanced at the small bag, then at Yuuki, and looked conflicted. Kita had given her canned food before, but this was candy? If you call me brother, this candy is all yours. Seeing Konan's hesitation, Yuuki tempted her. If someone bullies you in the Land of Whirlpools, your brother Yuuki will beat them up for you. Isn't that a good deal? But Kita wants me to call you uncle. Konan hesitated and said. Kita. No wonder Konan called him uncle when she brought the medical ninja to the cabin. So that's why. Yuuki glared at Kita, who was resting nearby, and cursed inwardly, that bastard. Don't listen to your uncle Kita, he's talking nonsense, Yuuki said with a smile. Well. Konan glanced at the candy in Yuuki's hand and finally said, brother Yuuki. Good girl, here you go. Yuuki patted Konan's head and said, if anyone bullies you in the Land of Whirlpools, tell your brother. Okay. Konan nodded, took the candy, and ran to her mother, happily saying, Mommy, have some candy. Slow down, slow down. Konan's mother smiled and squatted down. Under the medical ninja's treatment, her body had slowly recovered, and she had even followed the two ninjas to the Whirlpool ninjas' encampment. These ninjas were indeed as they said, they hadn't harmed them and had even given them food, tents, and clothing. Although she didn't know what these ninjas wanted, she could tell they meant no harm. Perhaps what they said is true. Conan's mother murmured with longing. Mom, eat this, it's very sweet. Xiaonan took out a candy and put it in her mother's mouth, saying, it's fruit-flavored. Xiaonan's mother nodded with a smile and said, it's very sweet. This kind of life isn't bad at all. Did you say thank you to your uncle? Yes, I said thank you to my brother. Xiaonan blinked her big eyes and said, he said I should call him brother. Xiaonan's mother smiled, rubbed Xiaonan's head, and said gently, are you happy, Xiaonan? Yes. Xiaonan nodded seriously and said, everyone here is a good person. Being able to eat their fill and not having any bad people to hurt them, they are really happy. And then, Xiaonan's mother, Kita, walked over and said with a smile, tomorrow you will be going to the land of whirlpools, so please prepare today. The land of whirlpools. Xiaonan's mother was stunned when she heard this, hesitated for a moment, opened her mouth, but in the end, she didn't ask the question she wanted to ask. However, seemingly sensing Conan's mother's worries, Kita smiled and said, don't worry, life in the land of whirlpools will be even better. No one will bully you there. The land of whirlpools is a country ruled by law. As long as you don't break the law, you'll be fine. By the way, did you read the law I gave you a few days ago? Of course, it's okay if you haven't finished reading it. As long as you live a normal life, you basically won't break the law. You'll gradually get used to it. I read it, Conan's mother nodded and said. She had originally thought that the land of whirlpools was a very strict country with no freedom, but if they could have enough to eat and wouldn't be killed arbitrarily by ninjas, they would be willing to go. But she hadn't expected the laws. Could the land of whirlpools really be paradise? You'll be assigned a job in the land of whirlpools, Kita said. Then you'll be able to support yourself and Conan. He smiled at the cute little girl pouting and sucking on a candy. And as long as you reach the required contribution points, you can apply to become a citizen of the land of whirlpools. Children in the land of whirlpools can receive free education, and the country provides medical insurance. Is this really true? Conan's mother looked incredulous upon hearing Kita's words. Is the land of whirlpools really that good? You'll find out when the time comes, Kita said with a smile. It will even be better than you imagine. All of this is brought by the daimyo of the land of whirlpools, the great leader, Prince Jun. Chapter 1. Chapter 164. The organization has assigned you a difficult task. The supplies should be ready, right? Uzumaki soon asked calmly, hands behind his back, with Kato beside him. The first batch of refugees should return in the next few days. If the land of whirlpools couldn't soothe the refugees' anxieties immediately, things would become difficult later. After all, first impressions are crucial. Perhaps a small gesture could completely win over these war-ravaged refugees to the land of whirlpools. Preparations are complete, Kato nodded. All the factories have been working overtime these past few days to produce supplies. Public morale is quite high, especially knowing that there's war outside. Everyone is worried about their peaceful lives being disrupted, so everyone is voluntarily working overtime, wanting to contribute their share to the country. Uzumaki soon nodded in satisfaction. It seems the political education in various departments over the past few years has been quite effective. Especially for families with young children, all citizens of the land of whirlpools are required to receive compulsory education. Although some children may not have the talent to become ninjas, after a round of reforms, the academy is not only a place to teach ninjutsu, but also basic knowledge such as mathematics, physics, chemistry, and politics. Uzumaki Jun now understands that instead of waiting for others to voluntarily study science, it's better to use national policy to force them to learn. Otherwise, in the ninja world, it's unknown how long it will take for scientists to reach the same status as ninjas. The historical problems are too serious. Ideas that have been passed down for thousands of years cannot be easily changed. Although some people may feel that these subjects are useless, under the guidance of national policy, most parents will send their children to the academy. They may not understand why Prince Jun is doing this, but they will not question Uzumaki Jun's decision. Moreover, moral education is a compulsory course in the academy. Whether it's ninjutsu or scientific subjects, there are exams, especially patriotic education, which is an important part of the curriculum. Anyone who fails must retake the exam, double their wages for the next few days, Uzumaki soon said after a moment's thought. Let them work a little harder lately. There's still plenty of time. The Industrial Revolution in the land of whirlpools has only just begun. There's no need to exploit the workers' enthusiasm. Everything needs to be done gradually. Only by addressing some problems while developing can the land of whirlpools achieve stable and sustainable development. Okay, Gato nodded and said, I'll make the arrangements. Everything must be arranged properly during this period, whether it's domestic defense patrols or domestic material preparation. The Second Shinobi World War is a crucial moment for the land of whirlpools. If it's not handled well, the land of whirlpools will be in trouble in the Third Shinobi World War. When airships appeared in the shinobi world, it meant that distance was no longer an issue, and natural barriers could be conquered. Especially for some shinobi villages that relied on natural barriers for their survival, airships posed a greater threat. Perhaps one day, an enemy village's airship would suddenly appear over their own village? So, airships might have some benefits for some shinobi villages, but the dangers they bring far outweigh the benefits. I estimate that some ninjas will come to the land of whirlpools to steal airship technology in the near future, Uzumaki-jun muttered as he walked to the entrance of the land of whirlpools Public Security Bureau. I must have Miyagi Castle strengthen its defenses. Currently, surveillance cameras have been installed throughout the land of whirlpools, but a method to replace chakra crystals with glass has still not been found. They are currently using a batch of chakra crystals that Gato purchased from other places. The land of whirlpools territory is not large, so it's sufficient for their needs. The glass problem must be solved. Uzumaki-jun sighed helplessly, walked into the Public Security Bureau, nodded to the police officer who was respectfully greeting him, and asked, Where is Chief Miyagi Castle? Chakra crystals are extremely expensive and scarce. If the demand for this natural substance is small, there's no problem, but once the demand increases, chakra crystals might become subject to control by others. Moreover, the land of whirlpools is developing rapidly. If the population grows, the territory of this small island nation might not be enough. If land reclamation is carried out, there won't be enough chakra crystals. In the office, Your Highness, please come in. Uzumaki nodded and said, Thank you for your hard work, before walking inside. It had been quite a while since Hibiki had been around. No one had arranged or prepared anything for him, so things had been a bit chaotic these past few days. But sending Hibiki out was the only option. After all, Hibiki had been by his side for years, and especially since he frequently read the books he'd exchanged for, he'd been heavily influenced by socialist ideology. So his literacy level was quite good, at least he understood his own thoughts and knew how to write this marching log. This was crucial for silencing certain people. Your Highness soon. Seeing Uzumaki enter, Miyagi Castle Gate quickly stood up and bowed. Yes, sit down. Uzumaki pulled over a chair and sat down, saying, I'm only here to arrange some things. The patrols within the country must be strengthened these next few days. You mean? Miyagi narrowed his eyes and said, These next few days, some ninjas will. Uzumaki nodded helplessly. Some villages are used to being bandits. When they see something useful, their first thought isn't to buy, but to steal it. Therefore, there must be patrols 24 hours a day these next few days. I will make the arrangements, Miyagi said seriously. The Blood Pond clan will protect the country and its people. I trust you, Uzumaki said with a smile, but I'm worried about not having enough people. This time, he didn't give Miyagi the specially made kune. After all, he couldn't always solve their problems. If the land of whirlpools wanted to become strong, he alone wasn't enough. Although he wouldn't stand idly by, he needed to make them feel tense. Otherwise, with his help, they might not feel the urgency, since they had someone to rely on. As for the Shinra clan, tell them to be careful too. Uzumaki knew about the Shinra clan's help. Miyagi had already submitted his report. He was touched that the Shinra clan had willingly joined in protecting the land of whirlpools. It seemed they were slowly starting to consider themselves citizens of the land of whirlpools. However, don't worry about the debt, Uzumaki said helplessly. I've already warned Kakuzu. Regarding Miyagi borrowing money from the Shinra clan, how could this be collusion between officials and merchants? Fortunately, Shinra Siho had high political awareness and refused outright. He won't be going these next few days. However, before Uzumaki could finish speaking, he used the Flying Thunder God technique to leaving Miyagi stunned. What aren't you doing? Amazing. Uzumaki returned to his office and, seeing the black and white Zetsu before him, exclaimed excitedly, You're finally here. I finished everything you asked me to do, Zetsu said, looking puzzled. The filming is also underway. Why is this brat Uzumaki suddenly so excited? Is something else going on? Those are minor matters. Uzumaki soon patted Zetsu's shoulder, adopting a serious expression, and said earnestly, Zetsu, the organization has a difficult task for you. You must carry it out diligently. Chapter 2. Chapter 165. I'll tell Mom when the time comes. Zetsu stared expressionlessly at Uzumaki-san before him, a thought swirling in his mind, unsure whether to speak it aloud. What the hell? Another important mission from the organization? This organization had absolutely nothing to do with him. He was the one who created it, and he was just a gopher. Thinking this, Zetsu felt a pang of sadness. Why had he dragged this brat into this mess back then? Otherwise, how could he have ended up like this? Zetsu, had lived for over 1,000 years, the mastermind behind the storms of the ninja world, and now he was just a lackey for this red-haired brat. Believe me, Uzumaki-san said solemnly, everything I've done is for the peace of the ninja world, for our noble goal. Only when the 5 great ninja villages are in chaos will we have a chance to obtain the tailed beasts. I, Uzumaki-san, am completely devoted to the organization, and I would never do anything to betray it. Please believe me. Believe you my foot. Zetsu stared speechlessly at the man before him, who seemed so devoted to the organization and utterly loyal. He felt a pang of annoyance. If he hadn't followed him a few times, he probably would have actually believed him. An arms dealer talking to him about peace in the ninja world? Although Zetsu had never been to school, he hadn't lived for 1,000 years for nothing. Didn't you say you wanted to buy the tailed beasts peacefully? Zetsu said expressionlessly, looking at Uzumaki-jun. You keep changing your mind. It's hard for me to follow your lead. He had an important mission to complete, he didn't have time to run errands for this kid. Sigh, plans can't keep up with changes. Uzumaki-jun sighed. Back then, I was just a child, I didn't think that far ahead. He also wanted the land of whirlpools to develop peacefully, but the other ninja villages wouldn't allow it. For the land of whirlpools to become powerful, war was inevitable, it was just a matter of how the war would end. You really are a child. Zetsu stared speechlessly at Uzumaki-san. This brat was shameless. He'd lived for 1,000 years and never been as thick-skinned as this kid. Now he actually claimed to be a child? Who would believe that? What mission? Zetsu asked, speechless. He couldn't beat him now, he figured there were hardly any people in the ninja world who could defeat this kid. 5 years had passed, and he had no idea how strong he had become. So, he had to endure the pain of recruiting him. Just, once Mom came out, that would be enough. He would definitely tell Mom then. Very determined. Uzumaki-san was very satisfied with Zetsu's attitude. He was a man who got things done. With someone like Zetsu helping the land of whirlpools, how could the land of whirlpools not prosper? You're very familiar with this matter, Uzumaki-jun said with a smile. It's just stirring up the ninja world, causing chaos in the ninja world. Konoha. The Senju clan has already gone to the battlefield, hasn't they? Hirozen Sarutobi said with emotion, smoking and looking at his good friend. As expected of the first Hokage and Masters clan, they still love Konoha. Yes. Danzo nodded, but said with some worry in his heart, but apart from Naruto and Tsunade who are still in the village, almost the entire clan has left. For some reason, he felt uneasy seeing this scene. Did the Senju clan really intend to sacrifice the entire clan for Konoha? That's too noble. Shut up. Hirozen Sarutobi said with a serious face, the Senju clan is Konoha's hero, He sighed, perhaps we made mistakes before. Now that the Senju clan has returned, let's not attack them again. They are, after all, Master's clan. Yes. Danzo frowned, but finally relaxed and said, I understand. Perhaps he was overthinking it? After all, the Senju clan is the family of the first Hokage and his teacher, they would never do anything to betray Konoha. Suddenly, he felt guilty about how he had treated the Senju clan in the past. Had he made a mistake? By the way, how is the Uchiha clan's arrangement going? Hirozen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette, averted his gaze, and said casually, there shouldn't be any problems, right? It's been arranged. Danzo nodded and said, the Uchiha clan has also sent some ninjas to join the battle. I'll keep an eye on them, this time, I won't send too many people out of the village. I trust you to handle things. Hirozen Sarutobi breathed a sigh of relief and smiled, After all these years, I understand you. Yes. Danzo, hearing Hiruzen Sarutobi's words, also fell into reminiscence, a smile appearing on his face as he said, "It's been so many years since we took over the village from our teacher. From the initial precarious situation to now, Konoha has become better and better under our management. It wasn't for nothing that he had carried the blame for so many years, it was all worth it. But now, I think that although the Uchiha clan is a bit expressionless and speaks bluntly, they are also part of the village. We don't need to treat them like that." Hiruzen Sarutobi's cigarette fell onto the table, staring blankly at his good friend. What was he planning to do now? After hearing Uzumaki-san's words, Zetsu almost blurted out something, but then he thought better of it. He couldn't beat him, so he shouldn't cause trouble. He had an important mission to fulfill. He said helplessly, "Didn't you think logging in the 3 great ninja villages was the same? Why did he suddenly change his mind?" He was in a dilemma. Although he had been doing this for the past few days, Zetsu was starting to panic. What kind of terrible ideas did this brat have? If he continued like this, he probably wouldn't be able to hide his identity as the mastermind behind the ninja world. He had to find out the truth, otherwise he wouldn't dare to make any rash moves. This Uzumaki brat wasn't as straightforward and kind as the other members of the Uzumaki clan. Zetsu suddenly remembered a magnet release and a thought popped into his head. Could he really be a half-blood? "I've come to tell you something," Zetsu quickly said. "Konoha has already attacked the Sky Ninja village. He wanted to distract the brat for now, to let him investigate the ninja world and find out what was happening before making a decision. Otherwise, starting a ninja world war right now was a bit unsettling." "They're going to attack?" Uzumaki-san asked, a surprised expression on his face. "When did it start?" He had already told Zetsu to keep an eye on the Sky Ninja village's movements and to inform him as soon as Konoha declared war on them. He hadn't expected it to happen so quickly. "The Konoha forces have already set off for the Sky Ninja village." Zetsu breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Uzumaki-jun's gaze being pulled away, and said, "They should be arriving soon. In that case." Upon hearing this, Uzumaki-jun stroked his chin, lost in thought. The Sky Ninja village possessed a technology that was currently extremely important to the Land of Whirlpools, the forced extraction of chakra from others. If the Land of Whirlpools could acquire this technology, their research into chakra extraction could advance significantly. Moreover, he remembered that the tailed beasts in Naruto had stated that as long as chakra existed in the ninja world, they would not disappear. Especially since chakra test strips were made from a tree that absorbed chakra, meaning that the ninja world's environment contained chakra energy. If they could extract chakra from the environment, then the practice of using human flesh to create chakra batteries would become obsolete, since the Land of Whirlpools didn't have that many disabled ninjas. Once other ninja villages started purchasing chakra batteries, their production capacity would be insufficient. Furthermore, technological development was inseparable from vast amounts of energy. Especially the Angkor fortress of the Sky Ninja village, it looks like a scientific weapon no matter how you look at it, so, we absolutely must obtain the technology from the Sky Ninja village. Sigh. Uzumaki-san sighed, giving Zetsu a smile as if he were looking at his loyal follower, and said, "For the sake of the organization's development, it's time for us to make our move again." Huh? Chapter 1. Chapter 166. It's not too much to ask for a few of your people. My name is Black Zetsu, the third son of the Mother of Chakra, and the younger brother of the Sage of Six Paths. However, I completely deny that Hagoromo and Hamura are my mother's children. Before I was even born, my mother loved them both so much. She single-handedly raised them, sharing her chakra with them, teaching them how to use it, and constantly reminding them not to reveal their chakra to ordinary people. But, these two unfilial sons disobeyed their mother, secretly teaching ordinary people how to use chakra, and even listening to Toad, bullying their mother. My mother loved them so much, yet they didn't trust her and chose to believe that strange Toad instead. I heard that Toad has now become the great Toad Sage. My mother clearly didn't want to harm the world. She told Hamura and Hagoromo not to let others learn chakra so that she could more easily recover it, but they didn't listen and recklessly passed on their chakra to others. Even so, my mother didn't blame them. But, after ordinary people learned chakra, Mother was forced to extract their chakra to feed the Ten Tails. All this was to protect the world, to resist the powerful beings from beyond the realm, yet she was sealed away by her two most beloved children. He was born that day, witnessing his mother so helpless, so heartbroken, sealed away by her 2 sons. That day, Mother cried. Now, Black Zetsu felt like crying too. He only wanted to pull this brat's gaze away so he could investigate what this brat was up to, but he was forced to act for the organization. Black Zetsu felt a faint sadness. Why did he recruit this brat back then? Was it because the darkness hidden in this brat's heart was greater than his own? Otherwise, why would he have been blind enough to recruit this brat? He became a shadow in a few months, and in a few more months he'd be almost as strong as Madara. Now, who knows how strong he really is? Why would such a monster appear among Higuramo's descendants? What are you up to now? Zetsu looked at the brat Uzumaki warily. Why are there always missions? He wanted to rest too. Did being a weapon, mean he didn't need rest? Didn't he get paid? Now, for this brat, he was just working for free. Don't worry, Uzumaki said with a smile, believe me, our dream will come true. All of this is for achieving peace. Don't even mention peace. Zetsu looked at Uzumaki with a pained expression. This was just something he used to fool you guys, not something you used to fool me. Who wants peace? He just wanted to rescue his mother. However, Uzumaki ignored Zetsu's ugly expression. Instead, his eyes filled with faith. He looked up at a 45-degree angle and said frantically, we will definitely change this sick world and bring true peace to this world. Zetsu shut his mouth, deciding not to talk to this brat anymore. It was always like this, he couldn't get any information out of him. Sigh. Lord Madara, what should we do about our plan? He's completely lost. In this organization, he's just a gopher. This brat doesn't listen to him at all. Village Chief, Konoha's attacking. A sky ninja rushed into the office in a panic, shouting anxiously, Konoha's main force is almost here. That's the head of the 5 great ninja villages. What are they going to do? Shut up, the Sky Ninja Village chief roared, we are Sky Ninjas, what are we afraid of Konoha for? But, the chief was also panicking. He was only asking Konoha to return their weapons. Was that too much to ask? Was it too much? Konoha had taken their weapons and now they wanted to kill them? What about their dignity as the head of the 5 great ninja villages? Did they deserve the title of peace ambassadors of the ninja world? If they didn't want them back, they could have just said so, and the Sky Ninja Village would have given them away. But now, they've actually sent a large army to the Sky Ninja Village. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to kill them? Village Chief, what should we do? Seeing the village wasn't tense, the Sky Ninja relaxed. It seemed the village chief had a solution. So what if it was Konoha? Their Sky Ninja Village, they really couldn't beat them. Besides their superior technology, their village had nothing else. They lacked manpower and strong warriors, relying solely on their technology to maintain their standing in the ninja world. But, their technology couldn't compare to Konoha's. Konoha is coming soon, the Sky Ninja said cautiously, observing the village. How about we make peace? Konoha shouldn't attack then. Everyone in the ninja world knew Konoha was a peace-loving fool, cough cough, good village. If they surrendered, Konoha would withdraw, and they might even receive some benefits. Withdraw? The village chief glared coldly at the Sky Ninja, saying, we Sky Ninja aren't cowards. So what if it's Konoha? He wanted to surrender too. But remembering how badly the Yangayan Ninja Village had been beaten, how could Konoha forgive them if they surrendered? So, they absolutely couldn't surrender. Could it be that you, village chief? The Sky Ninja looked at the village chief with admiration. It seemed the village chief had some secret weapon to fight against Konoha. Perhaps, the Sky Ninja Village had already developed some kind of secret weapon? Ahem. The village chief coughed twice, smiled, and nodded, saying, now, take those scientists to the cave in the forest. As long as he's alive, he'll have something to burn. He had long anticipated the Sky Ninja Village would be envied in the future, and he had prepared everything. As long as he sent some Sky Ninja to their deaths, making Konoha think their Sky Ninja Village had been destroyed, then, in a few years, their secret weapon would be successful, and revenge wouldn't be too late. He still needed to keep his body useful to contribute to the Sky Ninja Village. He absolutely couldn't sacrifice himself like this. However, the Sky Ninja looked at his village chief with a blank expression. What did this mean? Village chief, what did you say? Uzumaki ignored the regretful Zetsu. Let him regret it, it was none of his business. Kaguya-hime's white Zetsu requires no wages, rest, or food, And its disguise skills are superb, why not use it? Anyway, I'll rescue this filial son's mother eventually, so using a few of your weapons isn't unreasonable. Besides, this operation really needs White Zetsu's cooperation, not just for a filming, but also to impersonate someone. Those cunning ninja from the Sky Village weren't all wiped out by Konoha, they're hiding in the grove. To prevent future threats to the land of whirlpools, these Sky Ninja can't be spared. He only needs some technicians and technical books. As for the rest, let Konoha handle them. He believes Konoha would be happy to eliminate them completely. Since that's the case, as Konoha's ally, he has an obligation to help, and he must add fuel to the fire on Konoha's battlefield. Shadow clone technique, Uzumaki soon said, forming a hand seal. Then, under Zetsu's puzzled gaze, 3 different figures appeared. From now on, please call me X3 Pain. Shin Uchiha. Jun Uzumaki. Chapter 2. Chapter 167 Unauthorized use of the organization's name to harm. Playing 3 roles at once was still quite stressful for Uzumaki-san. If it weren't for his good attribute points and lack of weaknesses, he wouldn't dare to do this. The only thing he needed to be careful about now was chakra attribute. As long as those naturally gifted chakra users didn't notice, it shouldn't be a problem. Besides, he was an all-attribute ninja. As long as he was careful, he could easily change the chakra attribute used by each person. Of course, it would be even better if White Zetsu were here. With Tobi's skin, the act would be even more convincing, but unfortunately, he was still taking care of Madara. So for now, he could only be a little more careful. Remember your mission. Timing is crucial, Uzumaki-san said seriously, looking at the bitter-faced Zetsu in front of him. The organization believes in you. After assigning Zetsu's tasks, Uzumaki-san took his clone to the Sky Village. He figured the Konoha ninjas were probably there teaching the Sky ninjas a lesson, since the Sky Village couldn't possibly defeat Konoha. So, to expedite the cleanup of Konoha, Uzumaki-jun is preparing a grand spectacle for the entire ninja world. Sky Ninja Village. Is everything cleaned up? Asked a white-haired young man carrying a short sword. Have the corners and other areas been dealt with? This mission is extremely important. When the 3 great ninja villages and Omega-Cure declared war on Konoha, the other ninja villages thought Konoha was doomed, so many smaller ninja villages emerged to declare war on Konoha. Although Hatake Tsukumo, didn't know whether the villages had actually stolen the weapons, but, as long as it was for Konoha's safety, he didn't mind getting his hands stained with blood. Therefore, this mission cannot fail. Only by annihilating Sky Ninja Village can they deter the other ninja villages from acting recklessly. It's all cleared out. The Hyuga and Uchiha clans have been thoroughly searched, and no other Sky Ninja were found. A Konoha ninja said with a mocking expression, with this kind of strength, they actually dared to declare war on us? They're courting death. Hearing the Konoha ninja's words, Hatake Tsukumo frowned. He was also puzzled. These Sky Ninja were too weak. Not only were there few Jonin, but even the number of Shinin was too small. How dare they threaten Konoha? What exactly did they want? Were they tired of living and planning to go to paradise? Never mind, focus on cleaning up the battlefield. Hatake Tsukumo shook his head and said seriously, we must head to the battlefield in the Land of Rain. The war here is nothing compared to the 3 great ninja villages of the Land of Rain. Who is that bastard with the Mangekyou Sharingan? Why did he have to pour cold water on Konoha? Otherwise, how could they have gotten into this situation? Luckily, we have the Land of Whirlpools as an ally. Hatake Tsukumo sighed. Years ago, he had complained about the Land of Whirlpools detaining Konoha ninjas, but now it seemed, the village's ninjas had gone too far. Although the Land of Whirlpools demanded 500 million, that wasn't much. Helping Konoha in their time of crisis was already commendable. Hatake Tsukumo, and most of the villagers, were still unaware that Konoha had sold off the legacy left by the first and second Hokage. We should now. Boom. Before Hatake Tsukumo could finish his order, a violent explosion suddenly came from the nearby forest. Explosive tags. The Konoha ninjas quickly took defensive positions, staring in shock at the forest engulfed in flames. What happened? Go. Without hesitation, Hatake Tsukumo ordered, let's go see. This was still within the territory of the Sky Ninja Village. How could an explosion have suddenly occurred? Who was behind it? Damn it. The village chief of the Sky Ninja Village stared at the one-eyed masked man before him, utterly devastated. They had hidden themselves so well, Yet they had still been discovered. And the one standing before him was the monstrous, clan-exterminating Mangekyou Sharingan user, Uchiha Shin. This was fate decreeing the destruction of the Sky Ninja Village. The village chief felt tears streaming down his face, a sudden pang of regret washing over him. Why had he gotten involved in this mess? Provoking Konoha. Now the provocation had backfired, the village had come seeking revenge. But, was this Mangekyou Sharingan ninja truly from Konoha? Actually, it's all a misunderstanding. The village chief looked at Uchiha Shin with a fawning expression and said, "Our Sky Ninja village surrenders, unconditionally surrenders to Konoha. Actually, I have a deep respect for Konoha and have long wanted to be a part of maintaining peace in the ninja world. Believe me, I'm serious, and I hope Konoha can give me a chance. However." How? Uchiha Shin laughed disdainfully. "Why didn't you say that when you declared war on Konoha? Damn it. It really is Konoha sending someone to seek revenge." The village chief's face was now ashen. It seemed that this Uchiha wouldn't let him go. Now he could only use his secret weapon, otherwise Sky Ninja Village would really be destroyed, and he would be the sinner of Sky Ninja Village. "So, don't kill me. I have a secret to tell you," the village chief shouted. Uchiha Shin looked at the village chief of the Sky Ninja Village with a pained expression. How could such a cowardly person become the village chief? Could there be some secret behind the Sky Ninja Village? "Our Sky Ninja Village is researching a secret," the village chief quickly said when he saw Uchiha Shin's silence. "If we succeed, the Sky Ninja Village will become the sixth, cough cough. Konoha will be able to dominate the ninja world, believe me. I'm not lying." Just then, Uchiha Shin. Suddenly, a furious roar came from behind. "You dare betray the organization." The village chief hadn't finished speaking when he quickly turned around, only to see a person dressed similarly and wearing a mask flying towards him. Those eyes. It seemed the information from the Land of Rain was correct. This was the Rinnegan. He was the legendary Pain, the Deva Path. So now, the village chief seemed to remember something, a surge of excitement rising within him. Heaven is helping the Sky Ninja Village. It seemed this Pain had come here to hunt down the Uchiha. HMPH. Uchiha Shin raised his head, looking at the floating Deva Path in the sky, and said disdainfully, "Deva Path?" Pain ignored Uchiha Shin's sarcasm, staring coldly at him, and said, "You actually betrayed the organization, using the organization's name to commit atrocities against his ninja village, and stealing weapons. I really misjudged you. I thought you were a person with lofty ideals for the peace of the ninja world, but I didn't expect you to be like this. Have you done right by the organization? Have you done right by your comrades?" Deva Path looked at Uchiha Shin with a pained expression and shouted loudly, "Where's your belief in peace? Don't joke around. That laughable peace?" Uchiha Shin sneered, "It's just child's play, it's impossible to achieve. You." Pain was furious when he heard Uchiha Shin's words, and roared, "I will not allow you to desecrate the organization's dream. Die? Captain, what should we do now?" A Konoha ninja looked at Hatake Tsukumo next to him and asked doubtfully, "Should we help that Uchiha clansman?" Wait a minute. Tsukumo Hatake pondered for a moment and said, "Let's see what's going on first." He didn't know the situation yet, and rashly intervening would only cause trouble for Konoha. Although that Mangekyou Sharingan seemed to be from Konoha, but why did he have such a bad feeling about it? However, no. The Uchiha clan members naturally disagreed. Seeing the Mangekyou Sharingan again after so many years excited them. If that person really was a member of the Uchiha clan, the time for the Uchiha to rise had finally come. "He is my clansman, he is from Konoha, we must help him," the Uchiha clansman said excitedly. "Konoha will never abandon any comrade." Chapter 1, I went out for a bit today and came back a little late. Chapter 168 Thus. Konoha. Hurry up, hurry up. Uzumaki soon shouted at the group of researchers in front of him, "Do you even want to live? Get over here now." He had already sneaked into the cave where the Sky Ninja were hiding after Uchiha Shin used fire release to blast open a crack. After dealing with all the Sky Ninja, he now had to quickly take the Sky Ninja village's researchers away. As for loyalty, resentment, and such, well, these researchers would be restricted even if they were taken back to the land of whirlpools. Until they fully grasp patriotism, dedication, integrity, friendliness, the core values of the land of whirlpools, they wouldn't be allowed freedom. So, the rest could wait. He had to act quickly now, Otherwise, it would be troublesome if the Konoha people barged in unintentionally, or what if they discovered something? However, the researchers glanced at the sky ninja lying on the floor and fell silent, ignoring Uzumaki-san's words. Seeing this, Uzumaki-jun's eyes suddenly narrowed. Could it be that these people wanted to live and die with the sky ninja village? If that's the case, these people really can't be brought back to the land of whirlpools, otherwise who knows what might happen. After all, a mad scientist is more terrifying than a cage. Besides, anyway, the data on the technological research has already been obtained. At most, the land of whirlpools can take it one step at a time. Looks like you all want to die. Uzumaki-san stared coldly at them and said, since that's the case, I'll grant your wish. Just as Uzumaki-san was about to make his move. A researcher raised his hand and said fearfully, I'll go with you. I'm not from the Sky Ninja Village, I was just captured by them. Uzumaki-san nodded in satisfaction and snorted, come here. Then, staring at the remaining people, in this situation, if even one person compromised, the rest would. I surrender too. Me too, I was captured by them too. Uzumaki-san saw the scene and nodded in satisfaction. Then, staring at the remaining people, it seemed that this group was the die-hard loyalists of the Sky Ninja Village. In this situation, they remained silent and even cursed those who had betrayed them. What about the village providing food, shelter, and protection, and yet they still betrayed the village? These people cannot be allowed to live. Since that's the case, then, fire release. Uchiha Shin dodged Pain's taijutsu, formed a hand seal, and shouted, great fireball technique. Instantly, an astonishing fireball shot towards Pain. The Konoha ninja watching this scene were all shocked. What kind of chakra was this? Especially the Uchiha clan, who were almost fainting with excitement. This fire-release Mangekyou Sharingan user was definitely a member of the Uchiha clan. Although the chakra was a bit enormous, as long as he was a member of the Uchiha clan, that was fine. Once he returned to the Uchiha clan, the clan's prosperity would come. At that time, even the Hokage position. Quickly, save him. He's a member of the Uchiha clan, and Uchiha shouted excitedly, we must save him. Hatake Tsukumo fell silent. Seeing the astonishing fireball, he didn't know whether he should save this Uchiha clan member. If he didn't handle it well, the trouble would be huge. Moreover, in this kind of battle, it was better not to interfere easily. Hatake Tsukumo sighed inwardly. If only the Hokage were here right now. Watching the two masked men with colored contact lenses locked in combat, his brow furrowed. Who exactly was this person called the Heavenly Path? How could he possess such power? Damn it! Hatake Tsukumo exclaimed, seeing the fireball's impact. Damn it! The massive flames completely engulfed the hidden cave of the Sky Ninja Village. The Sky Ninja Village chief screamed in agony, and then, fell silent. What exactly is this Uchiha clan trying to do? Hatake Tsukumo's face turned ashen. Although his mission was to annihilate the Sky Ninja Village, this Mangekyou Sharingan user, every time he appeared, he wiped out a clan. This time, he was even more ruthless, destroying the entire Sky Ninja Village. Konoha's reputation was probably even worse now. Was he even a Konoha member? Why did he have the feeling that he was digging a pit for Konoha? Well, now it was truly a case of mud falling into his pants. Even if it wasn't shit, it was still shit. Other ninja villages will definitely seize this opportunity to promote Konoha to the fullest, especially since Konoha's troops appeared in the Sky Ninja Village. It seems like the Mangekyou Sharingan brought Konoha to attack the Sky Ninja Village. Just as Hatake Tsukumo was lost in thought, Shinra Tensei. Pain suddenly roared. Then, the Konoha ninja stared blankly at this scene, their hearts filled with doubt. There was no chakra fluctuation at all, so why was Uchiha Shin sent flying backwards? Was he attacked? Hatake Tsukumo fell silent for a moment, then asked a Hyuga clan member beside him, did you see anything? Nothing. The Hyuga clan member shook his head seriously and said, I didn't detect any chakra fluctuation. This move is very strange. They didn't see anything, yet the Mangekyou Sharingan flew backwards. Could it be the power of the Rinnegan? The Hyuga clan member said doubtfully. Otherwise, why? The Rinnegan? Hatake Tsukumo frowned immediately. They had no idea what abilities these legendary eyes possessed. Could the strange ninjutsu just now really be the power of the Rinnegan? It seems he had to report this to the Hokage. He had to be careful of this Rinnegan. And anyone who betrays the organization deserves to die. Pain flew towards Uchiha Shin's location. He didn't know that because of their cooperation, simply shouting Shinra Tensei had surprised the Konoha ninjas, making them suspect it was the power of the Rinnegan. Although they weren't wrong, but these Rinnegan were fake. As for what was released just now, it was just a simple shout, and then Uchiha Shin flew out on his own. How laughable. Uchiha Shin jumped up again, exchanged a few blows with Pain, and sneered, an organization? Just a bunch of naive people. Naive? Pain roared, what's laughable about achieving peace in the ninja world? What's so naive about that? The Konoha ninjas fell silent upon hearing the words of the two men with colored contact lenses. They had a feeling that this Meijekaiao Sharingan user was the villain. Was he really from Konoha? However, the Uchiha clan ignored them, still anxiously wanting Hatake Tsukumo to help save the Meijekaiao. Captain Hatake, that's an Uchiha clansman. He's our comrade, we should help him. Seeing the Meijekaiao being overwhelmed, the Uchiha clan was anxious. If this Meijekaiao ultimately failed, the Uchiha's hope would be gone. And then, that laughable piece, Uchiha Shin laughed loudly, your method of just everyone giving a little love won't work. Only war is the only way to achieve peace. I'm not playing with you anymore. I'll take my leave. Stop. Seeing Uchiha Shin trying to run, Pain shouted and quickly gave chase. The Konoha ninja watching this scene fell silent. Was the fight over? Only Hatake Tsukumo frowned, watching the direction they ran, a sense of unease creeping into his heart. This direction. Konoha. Chapter 2. Chapter 169 Victory will always belong to the side of justice. Elder, these are the researchers from the Sky Ninja Village. Uzumaki soon pointed to the dozen or so researchers beside him who looked terrified and said, make arrangements for them. And this is the Sky Ninja Village's research technology. He made a hand seal, summoning jutsu. He directly took the item out of his system inventory. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on them. The elder nodded with a smile. He knew what soon meant, it was just, to keep a close eye on them. After all, they were from another village, and he couldn't let them roam freely in the land of whirlpools right now. Then I'll leave it to the elder. Uzumaki soon nodded. Seeing that things were arranged, he immediately used the Flying Thunder God technique to leave. They were still filming, how could he leave so easily? So, they should be arriving in Konoha by now. Damn it. Hatake Tsukumo's heart was breaking. Why did Konoha arrange to annihilate the Sky Ninja Village? Wasn't it to deter other ninja villages and prevent them from making any rash moves? Then, the Hokage would step forward and issue a statement, the Meijekaiao Sharingan doesn't belong to Konoha, and Konoha didn't steal your weapons. This would demonstrate Konoha's hope and determination for peace. However, if you want to cause trouble, Konoha isn't afraid of war, as long as you can bear the consequences. But now, it's over, everything is over. These two masked men kept running towards Konoha, the entire ninja world saw it. Konoha will probably be on the front page again tomorrow. It's solid proof. Didn't you see the Meijekaiao Sharingan fleeing towards Konoha? They don't care whether these two masked men did it intentionally or not, as long as it benefits them, they don't care about anything else. Iwagakure and Kumagakure are probably secretly laughing right now. They were originally on the side of justice, and now they're controlling the moral high ground. They'll definitely join forces with other ninja villages to cut down Konoha, forcing them to release the Meijekaiao Sharingan, and maybe even cede territory and pay reparations. Hatake Tsukumo secretly wondered if these two were putting on an act. Otherwise, why did he have this feeling of being tricked? Damn it. Hatake Tsukumo said with a grim expression. Go up there and stop them. They had to stop them on the road and bring them back to Konoha. That way, Konoha would still have the chance to clear their name. Yes. All the Konoha ninja realized the seriousness of the situation. Now was not the time to watch. If things weren't handled properly, Konoha would be fighting the entire ninja world alone. However, Uchiha Shin and Pain ran while releasing ninjutsu, looking like they had a deep-seated hatred. But their speed never slowed down. Looking at the approaching Konoha village, Uchiha Shin and Pain frowned. It was almost time. Why hadn't Zetsu sent out any people yet? This charade required the cooperation of the Konoha people, otherwise, it wouldn't be realistic. Glancing at the hidden Zetsu, seeing him make a hand gesture, Uchiha Shin and Pain knew everything was fine. So, you think I can't catch you just because you ran back to Konoha? Pain looked at him coldly and said, "Those who betray the organization must die." "How?" Uchiha Shin said indifferently, "I'll talk to you after you catch me." Uzumaki-jun, who had already reached White Zetsu's side with Flying Thunder Gon technique, sighed helplessly at this scene. He didn't want to do this either. But for the sake of the land of whirlpools, Konoha had to take the blame. "Anyway, I will save you in the end and turn Konoha's one against the ninja world into a great melee. And Uzumaki-jun has already chosen the victor. How could Konoha, as the side of justice, not win? This is the movie formula. Victory always belongs to the side of justice, and when Uchiha Shin arrived at the Sky Ninja Village, Lord Danzo, captain of your aim, needs your help. A root ninja respectfully said to Danzo, "She's discovered a clue and needs you to go immediately." "What is it?" Danzo frowned upon hearing his subordinate's words and said indifferently, "Led the way." "Yes." The root ninja stood up and led Danzo away from Root. However, a short while later, "Lord Danzo?" A root ninja left behind looked at Danzo in confusion. Why did he return so suddenly? Did he really discover something and come back to assign a mission? Danzo nodded indifferently and said coldly, "Immediately take some men to the outskirts of the village, hold off the enemy, and bring back the Mangekyo Sharingan." "Yes, Lord Danzo." Although he was puzzled, could the Mangekyo Sharingan really belong to the village? But as a root ninja, he didn't ask. After replying, he turned around and went to gather the ninjas to prepare for the mission. After he left, Danzo transformed into a White Zetsu, all in white, grinning with sharp fangs. "Sigh, you're unlucky to have messed with that brat," White Zetsu said helplessly. "Since the mission is complete, I'll be leaving now." He'd lived for 1,000 years, and wasn't he just running errands for that brat anyway? "So, as Haguramo's children, this is your honor." Then, he sank into the ground. "Where are we going?" Danzo, accompanied by the root ninja, looked at the ninja leading the way with a puzzled expression, frowning as he asked, "Are we there yet?" "Lord Danzo, please wait a moment, we'll be there soon," the root ninja said respectfully. "It's just ahead." Hearing the root ninja's words, Danzo, though curious about what was going on, nodded calmly without asking. As a high-ranking official of Konoha, he still possessed that much composure. "We're here." The root ninja suddenly stopped and looked at the forest in front of him. "Lord Danzo, please wait here. Captain of your aim said there might be danger inside, so she wants me to go in and check it out first." "All right." Danzo nodded. He wanted to see what was going on with bringing him out like this. The root ninja leading the group respectfully turned around and ran into the depths of the forest. Then, out of Danzo's and the other's sight, he reverted to being dressed in white. "Oh my god. That was terrifying." White Zetsu gasped for breath and said, "Luckily, my disguise skills are good, and I wasn't discovered. Otherwise, he almost had to sacrifice himself for that brat. Now we should leave quickly and let them wait here. Taking them this far should be fine." His mission was complete, now it was just a matter of that Uzumaki brat's business. "Lord Hokage, Lord Danzo isn't with Root." An Anbu ninja flashed into the Hokage building and respectfully reported, "I've already sent people to search the village." Disappeared again? Hiruzen Sarutobi, hearing his subordinate's words, paused, frowning, and muttered, "Where did Danzo go at this time?" He had planned to summon him to inquire about the war, but now he's not with Root? Go ask the Uchiha clan. Hiruzen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette and said, "Perhaps he went to the Uchiha again." Lately, his good friend seemed quite friendly towards the Uchiha. Had he forgotten his teacher's arrangements? The Uchiha clan could only hide in the village. Letting them go out on missions now was already violating the teacher's instructions. "Danzo, what exactly do you want?" Hiruzen Sarutobi frowned, deep in thought. "What exactly do you want?" Danzo looked at the forest before him. This root ninja had suddenly and secretly let him out of the village, then said there was danger and told him to wait outside. So much time had passed. Why hadn't he appeared yet? HMPH. Danzo's eyes gradually turned cold as he said indifferently, "If it's not anything serious, you'll go to Root and receive your punishment." Now, he'd just wait here and see what happened, and at this moment. Hatake Tsukumo stared blankly at the suddenly appearing Anbu ninja, unsure whether to say what he wanted to say. A chapter was secretly written. It's going on sale today. Thank you all for your support. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. we warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Divine Realm. Hatake Tsukumo's face turned green. He was just about to lead the Konoha ninja to rush in and capture the two masked men. When did Konoha's Anbu suddenly appear? Could that Meijekaiao Sharingan really be a Konoha member, a secret weapon hidden by Konoha? Were all those clan massacres and weapon thefts really Konoha's doing? If not, why would Konoha's Anbu only target the Rinnegan? Were they planning to cover for the Meijekaiao Sharingan? Hokage-sama, what exactly are you trying to do? Hatake Tsukumo looked towards Konoha with a tearful expression. Could they have done this secretly? Or at least told him so he could be prepared and have backup? After all, Hatake Tsukumo, was an Anbu member, one of their own. Now, Konoha was definitely going to be on the Ninja World's headlines tomorrow. Attack! Tsukumo Hatake gritted his teeth and said to the Konoha ninja beside him, help the Anbu ninja block that Rinnegan, but remember not to hurt anyone. Judging from the situation just now, Konoha and the Rinnegan shouldn't be mortal enemies, and besides, it's still unclear who the Meijekaiao Sharingan is. Without the Hokage's orders, it's best not to make a decision. Moreover, this flying Rinnegan isn't an ordinary ninja. Even if they wanted to keep him here, it's probably impossible. Right now, the only option is to stop the fight and see how things go. Tsukumo Hatake sighed inwardly and instantly rushed to the Rinnegan's side, saying, please stop. However, before he could finish speaking, boom. He was kicked away by Pain in a flash. Did he really think his cage-level taijutsu was for nothing? Even if you're now the White Fang of Konoha, you're still no match for me. Finally out? Pain sneered at the Konoha ninjas who had appeared. Following me all this way, only now making your move? That Meijekaiao defector was indeed from Konoha. Hatake Tsukumo jumped up, touching his ribs. As expected of someone with a Rinnegan, his taijutsu was incredibly strong. If he hadn't specialized in swordsmanship and had a good physique, he probably would have needed to call a doctor. And a sensory ninja with a Rinnegan's abilities? Hatake Tsukumo frowned. It seemed they had been discovered long ago. So, holy crap. Even if these Anbu ninjas hadn't appeared, the Meijekaiao would still be connected to Konoha. Sorry, we meant no harm, Hatake Tsukumo quickly said. We just... How, no harm? Pain gave a cold smile and said, because of your obstruction, that Meijekaiao has already escaped. Escaped? All the Konoha ninjas looked in the direction where the Meijekaiao had been standing. Sure enough. When did he disappear? Why didn't they notice? Truly worthy of being called the legendary eyes of the Uchiha clan, an Uchiha clansman exclaimed. But, Ganlin, is this the time to talk about this? Aside from the ninja led by Hatake Tsukumo who intended to negotiate with the Rinnegan, the Anbu ninjas remained unmoved. Their orders were to block the Rinnegan, anything else was none of their concern. Actually, Hatake Tsukumo stepped forward, saying helplessly, if we also say we don't recognize him, what do you think? However, enough talk, let's see who's stronger. Pain interrupted directly, his voice sharp, let me see what Konoha has to offer in declaring war on Akatsuki. Hokage-sama, we haven't found Lord Danzo in the village, an Anbu ninja respectfully reported to Sarutobi Hirozen. We haven't found him either at the Uchiha clans either. Haven't found him? Sarutobi Hirozen took a drag of his cigarette, muttering, where did Danzo go? During this war, instead of staying in the village, he's wandering around aimlessly. What is he trying to do? Sigh. Hirozen Sarutobi sighed and said, don't worry about it. However, before he could finish speaking, Hokage-sama. Suddenly, another Anbu Jonin appeared anxiously at the Hokage building. What is it? Hirozen Sarutobi's heart skipped a beat when he saw this. This was the beginning of trouble. Traces of a battle have been found in the forest outside the village. It seems that some Anbu members have left the village on their own. What did you say? Hirozen Sarutobi frowned upon hearing this. Anbu members acting on their own? This was a serious problem. Only ninjas who obeyed orders were valuable, especially the Anbu. As the Hokage's direct force, they had actually acted on their own. Once discovered, there would be no way to deal with them except. Have you found out who it is? Hirozen Sarutobi asked, frowning. Is there any record? Not yet, the Anbu Jonin replied. And there's no record at all. In that case. Hirozen Sarutobi glanced at the Anbu ninja waiting for orders beside him, a strange feeling suddenly creeping over him. Danzo had left the village without permission, and then, the Anbu had also left the village without permission. Could there be some connection? Or perhaps root? Thinking this, Hirozen Sarutobi's eyes suddenly narrowed, and he said to the Anbu Jonin below, immediately send Anbu to investigate. If they find Danzo, order him back immediately. Yes, sir. X2 watching the Anbu go off to carry out the order, Hirozen Sarutobi sighed and took a drag on his cigarette, looking blankly at the report on the table. Danzo, don't do anything reckless. So strong. Tsukumo Hatake stared wide-eyed at the Rinnegan floating in mid-air before him. This Rinnegan's taijutsu and ninjutsu are so powerful, he was no match for it at all. Moreover, even with so many Jonin on their side, they still couldn't stop him. Especially their swordsmanship, which was basically all dodged by this Rinnegan. Who exactly is this person? Or rather, what exactly is the Akatsuki organization? Is it really just a peaceful organization in the ninja world? And according to the news from the Land of Rain, there seems to be a powerful member of the Akatsuki who fought against the first Hokage. Why haven't we discovered any trace of this organization before? Hatake Tsukumo thought to himself, they have so many powerful members. And they've hidden themselves so well. What are they trying to do? Stop, Konoha really has no ill intentions. Hatake Tsukumo said helplessly while fighting, perhaps we can sit down and talk? It's best not to act rashly while the situation is still unclear. Malice? Pain sneered. So many people are blocking my way, and you still say there's no malice? It seems Konoha wants to declare war on our Akatsuki. In that case, Pain's eyes narrowed. Let me test the magnanimity of your Konoha. Damn it. Hatake Tsukumo saw this scene and recalled this strange scene not long ago. Without any chakra fluctuations, that Meijekaiao Sharingan was instantly swatted away, and it also caused huge destruction around it. That ability, which seemed to be the Rinnegan. Sure enough. Shinra. Pain stared at the person in front of him and said, word by word, heaven. Get out of the way. Hatake Tsukumo shouted loudly with fear on his face. Get out of the way. However, just as Pain was about to say the last word, Pain, what's going on? A familiar voice came over. Achoo, achoo. Danzo rubbed his nose, frowned as he looked at the forest in front of him, and muttered, how much longer do I have to wait? What are the root ninjas doing inside? Why are they making him wait so long? Dove, Danzo called out, his tone displeased. Lord Danzo, a masked root ninja stepped forward. Go in and see what's going on? Danzo frowned, looking at the root ninja before him. And what are the insects doing? Yes. Chapter 2. No lunch break, all done in one go. Chapter 171 The Whirlpool of Loyalty and Righteousness. Soon? Pain frowned at the person who called him, pondered for a moment, then descended, walked to his side, and said calmly, what is it? Seeing this, everyone except the Anbu ninja breathed a sigh of relief, especially since the person standing before them was Uzumaki Tsun, the daimyo of the Land of Whirlpools, a ninja known for his righteousness and loyalty, who had been holding back the Sands village and the Rain village for them. What's going on here? Uzumaki Tsun asked curiously, why are you fighting with Konoha? Sigh, clearing Akatsuki's name has been quite a hassle. We found Uchiha, Pain said calmly, but he escaped. Uchiha? The traitor from your organization? Uzumaki Tsun frowned, saying, how did he escape? With your strength, you shouldn't. However, before Uzumaki Tsun could finish speaking, he followed Pain's gaze towards Konoha. Hatake Tsukumo and the other Konoha ninjas, seeing Uzumaki Tsun and Pain looking at them, gave an awkward smile. It really was because of them, otherwise, the Rinnegan would probably have actually caught the person. But, since it was the village's decision, they could only do it this way. After all, they were Konoha ninjas. It really is Konoha. Uzumaki-jun said in surprise, at first I thought someone was trying to smear Konoha, but I didn't expect, stroking his chin, squinting at the Konoha ninja in front of him, that Uchiha really wasn't lying. Hatake Tsukumo knew he couldn't let this continue. They still didn't know what was going on, and these two were already trying to pin the Meijekaiao Sharingan on Konoha. Although Konoha really sent someone to support the Meijekaiao, he might not even be from Konoha. Perhaps just an ally of Konoha? Cough cough. No, Konoha didn't know anyone with a Meijekaiao Sharingan at all. Sorry. Hatake Tsukumo walked out helplessly and said, We don't know what's going on with that Mangekyou Sharingan either. If they really admitted it was Konoha, then Konoha would truly be finished. How? Pain sneered disdainfully. Hypocrisy. You all sent people to help, and you still say you didn't know? Although, this was your own conspiracy, who knew? Only Zetsu knew. You didn't know and still helped him? Uzumaki-jun was shocked, and said with emotion, truly a friend of the ninja world. Basically, all the clans that Konoha helped are finished. Fortunately, that Uchiha Shin was his disguise, otherwise the land of whirlpools would probably be finished too. Hearing Uzumaki-jun's words, the Konoha ninjas turned green. How were they supposed to know what was going on? They only jumped in after seeing the Anbu ninjas come to help, right? They originally planned to see who that Mangekyou Sharingan was, but, damn it, he ran away on his own. They were also full of doubts. Could that Mangekyou Sharingan really be Konoha's secret weapon? Did he run away to avoid being discovered? But, the whole ninja world will probably know that Konoha has the Mangekyou Sharingan by tomorrow. What's the use of hiding now? We really don't know if that Mangekyou Sharingan belongs to Konoha. Tsukumo Hatake sighed helplessly. As for why he got away, it was just an accident. An accident? Pain's eyes narrowed as he stared at the Konoha Anbu, a disdainful sneer on his face. They actually wanted to distance themselves from Shin Uchiha? Don't even think about it, otherwise all his efforts would be in vain. Since that's the case. Pain raised his right hand and said calmly. I'll let you taste an accident too. Shinra. However, before Pain could finish, Jun Uzumaki grabbed him, saying helplessly, don't be impulsive, maybe it really was an accident? Now the land of whirlpools and Konoha are allies, I can't just watch Konoha ninjas be killed in front of me. Originally, seeing the Rinnegan about to unleash a powerful attack, the Konoha ninjas had all prepared to defend themselves and dodge, but, seeing Pain being stopped by Prince Jun, they breathed a sigh of relief. After all, those legendary eyes were truly terrifying. The daimyo of the land of whirlpools actually fought against the Rinnegan for their sake. The Konoha ninja were instantly filled with emotion. Truly, the friendship passed down through generations of Konoha is worthy of praise. Indeed, the Uzumaki clan are all good people. They haven't changed, only Konoha has changed. Uzumaki-jun secretly glanced over and saw the grateful expressions on the Konoha ninjas' faces. He nodded in satisfaction. As for Hatake Tsukumo and the Root Ninja, one frowned, the other wore masks, and made no other move. He sighed inwardly. He knew the Root Ninja were completely unmoved, after all, they were a bunch of lunatics. What more could he want? As for Hatake Tsukumo, he truly lived up to his reputation as Konoha's White Fang. His resolve was unwavering. It seemed he needed to nurture him further. Let's go to Konoha and find out what's going on, Uzumaki-jun sighed. Perhaps this is just someone else's conspiracy? To provoke your war, we absolutely cannot let them succeed. That's right. Hatake Tsukumo quickly shook off the wild thoughts in his mind. He needed to finish what was in front of him first, otherwise Konoha might have another powerful enemy. You can come with us to Konoha. The Hokage will definitely give you an answer. Insufficient information. He still didn't know what the Hokage was planning. He should take him to Konoha first and see what the Konoha leadership would do. How? Pain sneered. Trying to trick me into going to Konoha and then ambush me? How could he possibly go to Konoha? What if he appeared with his true form and revealed even the slightest clue? Tsukumo Hatake averted his gaze, chuckled, and said, how could that be? Trust us, Konoha would never do such a thing. While it was indeed possible, if that Mangekyou Sharingan really belonged to Konoha. But how could he say such a thing? Konoha was absolutely righteous. This was the ideal left behind by the first Hokage. Don't worry, Konoha would never do anything to betray its friends, Tsukumo Hatake said righteously. You are so strong, even if Konoha wanted to do something to you, it would definitely bring heavy losses to Konoha. So don't worry about Konoha doing such a thing. The Rinnegan. Countless people in the village yearned for it. How? Pain looked at Tsukumo Hatake with a cold smile, saying nothing. Going to Konoha was impossible, whoever went would be doomed. Currently, apart from himself, Jun Uzumaki, who could go as an ally, during wartime, anyone unrelated to Konoha who set foot in Konoha would be taken in for questioning. So, never mind. Uzumaki-jun sighed, saying helplessly, I'll go to Konoha and ask. I'll see how things go then and tell you. Hatake Tsukumo opened his mouth upon hearing Uzumaki-jun's words, intending to say something, but finally sighed and looked at Pain. This was the best option at the moment. After all, the Akatsuki organization didn't trust Konoha at all, so how could they go to Konoha alone? What if something unexpected happened? Pain pondered for a moment, looked intently at Uzumaki-jun, nodded, and said calmly, "Okay. Why has it taken so long?" Danzo looked at the forest in front of him. Kuru had been gone for a long time. Why hadn't he returned yet? Could there really be some danger inside? His eyes narrowed instantly, and he was about to call someone to Konoha to summon a large force to investigate when Lord Danzo. Kuru returned, kneeling respectfully on one knee, and said, "We searched inside for a long time but found no one. Not even the insect?" Danzo frowned upon hearing this, muttering, "What on earth happened? He was summoned, then left to stand here in the wind, and then vanished? What was the insect trying to do?" Danzo's gaze turned icy as he looked at Kuru coldly. "Did you find anything else amiss?" "No," Kuru shook his head, saying, "Suzume and I checked, there's nothing wrong. There was just a forest inside, nothing at all." "In that case, back to the village," Danzo roared, his face grim. "I want to see where the insect went. They even deceived their superior. Did they want to experience the root's punishment? Did they really think he had reformed through his suffering?" Chapter 3. Chapter 172. No, we bought the airship. Lord Jun. Hatake Tsukumo breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing Konoha village before him. He had originally planned to ask the Anbu what was going on, but they ignored him and simply slipped away. It seemed they were indeed on a secret mission. Even he, the future head of the Anbu, didn't give them face. He would have to rely on the Hokage's orders. But, what exactly did the Hokage want to do? "Please wait here a moment," Hatake Tsukumo said helplessly. "I will inform the Hokage." Although the daimyo of Uzumaki was now an ally of Konoha, the proper etiquette still had to be observed. Uzumaki-jun nodded indifferently. Aside from the daimyo of the 5 great nations, almost anyone meeting the Hokage of Konoha needed to be announced beforehand, although he was somewhat annoyed. After all, he was a daimyo of a country. Sigh, Uzumaki is still too weak. "Hokage-sama," Hatake Tsukumo said respectfully as he entered the Hokage's office. "Mission accomplished?" Hirozen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette and asked, "Is there anything I need to discuss with the village?" If he hadn't forgotten, war preparations should have been completed by now. He should have Tsukumo Hatake head directly to the battlefield in the Land of Rain after completing his mission, as the situation there wasn't looking good. And, why hadn't the Land of Whirlpools and the Sand and Rain villages gone to war? According to intelligence from his spies, the two sides had been at peace for many days, without any fighting. The Land of Whirlpools was only occasionally sending out ninjas for a brief exercise. But that was fine. Once Konoha resolved the battlefields in Iwagakure and Kumagakure, they could then join forces with the Land of Whirlpools to take down the Sand and Rain villages. So, it was good that they hadn't fought. The Land of Whirlpools only needed to hold them back and prevent them from causing trouble. "The Hidden Leaf village is destroyed," Hatake Tsukumo said helplessly after a moment's thought. But some problems arose. "What problems?" Sarutobi Hirozen frowned and asked, "Were the losses heavy?" "There weren't any major losses, it's just," Hatake Tsukumo said, "we just encountered." He should explain the situation they encountered first to see if the Hokage really had some secret mission. Or, who exactly was that Mangekyo Sharingan? The Mangekyo Sharingan and the Rinnegan? Sarutobi Hirozen was stunned when he heard Hatake Tsukumo's words. "I didn't send any Anbu to support them." However, Hatake Tsukumo looked at Sarutobi Hirozen with suspicion. If it wasn't the Hokage's order, then who could command the Anbu? "It seems someone is framing Konoha," Sarutobi Hirozen said with a sigh, taking a drag of his cigarette. "Those Anbu members weren't sent out by me. I'll have someone investigate." Wait, no, he seemed to remember a group of Anbu ninjas who left the village without registering. His eyes narrowed instantly, and he said, "I think I understand what's going on. What exactly does Danzo want to do? Who is that Mangekyo Sharingan user? Could he really be from the Uchiha clan? If so, what are Danzo and the Uchiha conspiring for?" Hirozen Sarutobi frowned, looking at Tsukumo Hatake, and said, "You don't need to worry about this. I'll take care of it. Now, please have the daimyo of Uzumaki come here." The Akatsuki. Hirozen Sarutobi smoked his cigarette in frustration. Why did this organization suddenly appear in the ninja world? They've been hiding so well for so many years, even the first Hokage and his teacher hadn't discovered them. He heard that there was a powerful figure in them from the same era as the first Hokage, and that he had even fought the first Hokage. Who could it be? What exactly do they want to do? Hiruzen Sarutobi leaned back in his chair, muttering, "Is it really for the peace of the ninja world?" Hokage-sama. Just as Hiruzen Sarutobi was deep in thought, Tsukumo Hatake entered with Jun Uzumaki and said respectfully. Uzumaki-jun slowly walked in, simply smiling and nodding at Hiruzen Sarutobi, saying, "Hokage." They were now on the same level, there was no need for him to lower himself, and besides, he figured if things came to light, this Hokage would want to kill him. Truly a heroic young man. Hiruzen Sarutobi didn't seem to care about Uzumaki-jun's address, and remarked with emotion, "I've always wanted to meet the future god of shinobi, the Mito clan, but I haven't had the time." As expected, Hiruzen Sarutobi showed a melancholy expression, just like the first Hokage. "You flatter me," Uzumaki-jun said with a smile, "I dare not compare myself to the first Hokage." This was clearly an attempt to sabotage the land of whirlpools. How many people in the shinobi world wanted to see the god of shinobi appear? Even a megacure produced a demigod, and you guys still managed to sabotage them. Otherwise, why would a land of rain be so poor and constantly embroiled in war? This time, it's even being used as a battlefield within their own country. This old man, haha. Haha, it's alright. Hiruzen Sarutobi smiled gently and said kindly, "I believe the first Hokage would be very pleased to see someone in the ninja world who shares his ideals." Jun Uzumaki smiled and nodded, saying nothing. As for sharing the same ideals, who would believe that? This old man was probably thinking about how to kill him right now. After all, those 500 million in the ninjutsu scrolls. He really thinks he's a little kid who doesn't know anything. Seeing that the kid wasn't excited by his praise, Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed inwardly. As expected of someone who became a Kage at such a young age, his mentality was completely different from his age. "So, how did you come to know the Akatsuki?" Hiruzen Sarutobi's eyes narrowed, and he asked seriously, "What exactly is their goal?" Let's get straight to the point. It all started with the airships that appeared in the land of whirlpools. Jun Uzumaki ignored Hiruzen Sarutobi's imposing manner. He had even seen Madara, why would he be afraid of the strongest Hokage? The Akatsuki is a peace-loving organization that contributes to the peace of the ninja world. Damn it. Danzo returned to the village with his familiar face, his expression ashen. He never expected that he, who had dominated the ninja world and was known as the Dark Ninja, would be deceived by his own subordinate. What exactly happened? "Caillou, go back and catch the insect." Danzo said to Caillou beside him, "Ask him what he wants." Was it his own fault, or was someone in the village trying to harm him? Just then, whoosh! Lord Danzo. A masked ninja appeared before Danzo and said, "The Hokage wishes to see you." Hiruzen? Danzo was taken aback, frowning as he pondered, what does he want to see me at this time? Could it be because of problems arising from the war? Or, was it Hiruzen Sarutobi who wanted to get back at him? And perhaps remind him not to get too close to the Uchiha clan? But Danzo trusted his good friend, he wouldn't really attack him. After all, they had been friends for decades. "So, let's go," Danzo said calmly. He wanted to see what Hiruzen wanted with him. Chapter 4. That's all, thank you everyone for your support. Chapter 173. The airship was bought. The Akatsuki is an organization that yearns for peace. From its inception to the present, it has been dedicated to the noble cause of maintaining world peace, upholding the banner of peace, development, cooperation, and win-win outcomes, and steadfastly safeguarding world peace and promoting common development. At the same time, it advocates benevolence, love, universal love, and boundless compassion, striving to create a peaceful, harmonious, prosperous, and beautiful new era for the ninja world, and jointly creating a peaceful and beautiful future. Uzumaki-jun glanced helplessly at Hiruzen Sarutobi, who was nodding along as he listened. He'd been speaking for so long, and no one had brought him a cup of tea yet. He pursed his lips and said, "The Akatsuki's goal is to bring true peace to this chaotic ninja world and achieve harmonious coexistence between ordinary people and ninjas. Konoha's service is terrible. And the land of whirlpools, as a friend of Konoha, has always kept in mind the first Hokage's ideals and is a righteous force that maintains world peace and stability." Hiruzen Sarutobi stared in disbelief at Jun Uzumaki, who had just blown so much air in one breath, and exclaimed, "I never imagined there was such a peace-loving organization in the ninja world. I'm sure Lord Hashirama would be very pleased to know this." "That's right, the land of whirlpools is just as great as the Akatsuki," Jun Uzumaki said solemnly. "Never forget your original intention, and you will achieve your goal." But Hirozen Sarutobi completely ignored what Jun Uzumaki said and said regretfully, "So your airships were bought from the Akatsuki? Sigh, I didn't expect this to be technology from one of our allies. It seems Konoha really has to pay for it this time." Upon hearing Hirozen Sarutobi's words, Jun Uzumaki narrowed his eyes and smiled, saying, "The current system of the land of whirlpools is based on the Akatsuki's ideal of a utopian society. Therefore, the land of whirlpools and the Akatsuki have a cooperative relationship. And this airship was developed by the Akatsuki over many years, consuming countless resources. A utopian society?" Hirozen Sarutobi murmured upon hearing this. He remembered when the land of whirlpools re-established its government, it abandoned the great policy of one country, one village left by Hashirama, elevating the status of commoners and lowering the status of ninjas, while also abandoning the mission-based system of ninja villages. "The land of whirlpools must be doing very well now," Hirozen Sarutobi said with emotion. "In such an environment, the lives of commoners must be very happy." The land of whirlpools thought the same way back then. Jun Uzumaki shook his head with a wry smile, saying helplessly, "But this world is still a world of ninjas. So, you shouldn't even think about the land of whirlpools anymore. It's not as good as it seems. Because there's no income from ninjas, the land of whirlpools is currently running a deficit. Coupled with the increased treatment of civilians, this has caused financial problems for the land of whirlpools." Uzumaki Jun sighed, looking at Konoha. "Alice, that's why we're providing such support to Konoha this time. The land of whirlpools is forced into this situation. Otherwise, the country might." Hearing Uzumaki Jun's words, Sarutobi Hirozen nodded in satisfaction. It seems that Lord Hashirama's policy was correct. Ninjas only have value when they do what ninjas do. Not taking on missions. Hell, the land of whirlpools will be finished sooner or later. Just like that sand village, which has been poor its whole life. Wasn't it because the income from missions couldn't sustain the village, and it kept asking the land of wind for money, which is why it was disliked by the daimyo of the land of wind? Konoha, the largest ninja village in the ninja world in terms of mission rate and completion rate, doesn't need the land of fire's aid, and even brings considerable financial revenue to the land of fire, which is why it's favored by the daimyo of the land of fire. Therefore, the land of whirlpools will eventually return to normal. Don't worry, Hirozen Sarutobi said with a smile. Those commoners will remember the kindness of the land of whirlpools. But, this world is still a world of ninjas. Now Hirozen Sarutobi finally relaxed. Even if the land of whirlpools produced a god of ninja, without a ninja village, it wouldn't pose the slightest threat to Konoha's position as the dominant ninja. In that case, how much does an airship cost? Hirozen Sarutobi asked, taking a drag of his cigarette. Konoha also wants to purchase a few. Business is on the horizon. Uzumaki Jun narrowed his eyes and smiled, saying, "One ship costs 10 billion. The land of whirlpools only sold one to the Akatsuki, the rest were borrowed." With a hint of regret, he lowered his head. "It's really too expensive. I heard their manufacturing process is quite complicated." The land of whirlpools inquired about selling the manufacturing method back then, but were refused. 10 billion. Sarutobi Hirozen frowned, thinking. This price was indeed a bit too high. Now it was wartime, both the ninja compensation and mission bounties required a large sum of money, not to mention the losses from equipment and rations. "Can't you lower the price a bit?" Sarutobi Hirozen asked, resting his chin on his hands. "Is there a discount if Konoha buys 5 at once?" 5 ships. A glint flashed in Uzumaki Jun's eyes. Konoha really had money. 5 ships cost 50 billion. The arms trade was indeed very profitable. It seems the other ninja villages' plans to purchase airships also need to be put on the agenda. Back in the village, I'll have the land of whirlpools prepare and manufacture the lower version airships so that all 5 major ninja villages can receive them simultaneously, thus balancing their strength. "No discounts possible," Uzumaki Jun said regretfully. The land of whirlpools tried to negotiate, but the Akatsuki disagreed, saying the cost was too high. In that case, Hirozen Sarutobi pondered for a moment. The village only had a little over 5 billion yen available. While using it all wouldn't cause immediate problems, unforeseen circumstances could leave them short of funds, causing trouble. So, then Konoha will purchase 3. Hiruzen Sarutobi said, taking a drag of his cigarette. Hopefully, they can be delivered early. It's better to be safe. This way, Konoha can react to any unforeseen circumstances. Once Konoha receives the airships, they can. Hiruzen Sarutobi's eyes narrowed. Send Awagakure a big gift. Not 5. Uzumaki soon sighed inwardly, nodded expressionlessly, and said, I'll inform the Akatsuki. So the business deal was done, and next came, digging a hole, cough cough, the matter of Konoha and the Akatsuki. That Uchiha Shin is from Konoha. Uzumaki soon asked, frowning. No matter what. That Mangekyou Sharingan caused serious losses to the Akatsuki, so pain won't let him go. If Konoha refuses to hand it over, then the Mangekyou Sharingan matter. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed, putting down his pipe, and said helplessly, even now, Konoha hasn't found a single clue about him, but... Knock knock. Before Sarutobi Hiruzen could finish speaking, there was a knock on the Hokage's office door. Lord Danzo has arrived. Chapter 1. Chapter 174, Article 162, The Land of Whirlpools has always been committed to fighting organized crime. So, you were tricked out of the village by your own subordinates? Hiruzen Sarutobi frowned, looking at his friend suspiciously. You didn't even give them orders to go to support? This was clearly a lie. Was it because there were outsiders here, and Uchiha Shin was one of his men, that he told such a lie? Hiruzen glanced at Uzumaki-jun, who was looking shocked, and sighed inwardly. He had kept Jun in the village to distance himself from Konoha and the Mangekyou Sharingan, but now it seemed, that wasn't a good idea. No, I'm not lying to you. Danzo said seriously. I've already sent my men to interrogate him, and I expect we should have some information soon. Danzo trusted his interrogation methods, but who was behind this plot against the Dark Ninja? He hadn't expected to be framed so quickly, and for such a serious crime. If things weren't handled properly, he might have to sacrifice himself for Konoha. Besides himself, it seemed like no one else had the authority to call upon the root ninjas. Hiruzen, don't worry. Danzo frowned and said seriously, I will definitely investigate this matter thoroughly. Whoever it is, as long as they harm the village, I will make them pay the price. This matter is very serious. Hiruzen Sarutobi took a puff of his cigarette with a sigh and said, although I trust you, I can't be sure about Uzumaki and Akatsuki. So, if it's not handled properly, we might provoke an extremely powerful organization. According to the intelligence gathered, besides Shin Uchiha, there are 3 others we already know, one who knows space-time ninjutsu, one who possesses the legendary Rinnegan, and the last one, who fought against the first Hokage. No matter how you look at it, this organization is extremely dangerous, not to mention if they have hidden strong men. Even if Konoha can resist them, they will suffer heavy losses. And this is still a time of war. Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed and said solemnly, you must give us an explanation no matter what, and there's even a spy in the village. This matter must be resolved as soon as possible. We need to find out which village's spy it is. Konoha's reputation cannot be damaged in the slightest, no matter what. I'll handle it. Danzo's eyes narrowed. Don't worry, I'll make those who mock me pay the price. It seems you'll have to put a layer of restraint on the root ninjas this time, otherwise, if something happens again, his best friend will really have to push him out with tears in his eyes. You handle it. Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed and said, now we must first clarify things. Knock knock. However, before Hiruzen Sarutobi could finish speaking, the Hokage's door was knocked on again. Hiruzen Sarutobi said with a dark face, come in. What's going on today? Why does someone always knock on the door when I get to the important part? Lord Danzo, Lord Hokage. A masked man walked in, handing over a document with both hands, and said respectfully, the investigation is complete. Good, you can leave now. Danzo nodded, took the document, and said expressionlessly. Hiruzen Sarutobi glanced at the departing root ninja with displeasure, sighed inwardly, and asked Danzo, did you find anything out? Jun Uzumaki also leaned over curiously. He wanted to see what Root could uncover. After all, Zetsu's disguise technique was the best in the ninja world. Mushi said he didn't have anyone notify me, Danzo said, frowning as he handed over the documents. After interrogation, Mushi wasn't lying, And he wasn't under any Ninjutsu. So what exactly happened? This? Hirozen Sarutobi frowned, carefully examining the documents, and asked, "Have you tried all the interrogation methods?" "Yes," Danzo nodded, saying, "We've tried all the interrogation methods Root possesses, and still found nothing." Then, Hirozen Sarutobi put down the documents, muttering, "Who could it be?" To be able to easily deceive Danzo and simultaneously instruct Root ninjas, it's unbelievable that Konoha has been invaded, yet the village hasn't found a single clue. What are the Root guards doing? Uzumaki-jun said, stroking his chin thoughtfully. Perhaps they're Shinachiha's men? They'll trick Danzo into leaving by disguising themselves, and then use Danzo's identity to command the Root ninjas. He needed to give them a clue, otherwise who knew what kind of wild ideas they might come up with. Possibly. Danzo glanced at Uzumaki-jun in surprise, not expecting him to defend him. He nodded to Hirozen Sarutobi and said, "According to the Root ninjas who went out, it seems someone disguised themselves as me to carry out the mission. What kind of transformation technique could it be to avoid being discovered?" Hirozen Sarutobi was still skeptical. He knew there were Hyuga clan members in Root. If it was a disguise technique, how could those Root ninjas not realize their boss was an imposter? He sighed and said, "It seems the village isn't peaceful either. After all, it's the main Gekkyou Sharingan," Uzumaki-jun said helplessly. "I'm completely unfamiliar with it," and Pain said that when Uchiha Shin joined Akatsuki, he claimed to be from Konoha. Enough said. Because of that, Konoha is now fighting 4 against 1. Hirozen Sarutobi and Danzo both stared at Uzumaki-jun with dark faces. Their first thought was to find out who Uchiha Shin was and why he framed Konoha. After the first Hokage and Madara Uchiha jointly founded Konoha, the Uchiha clan became Konoha's security force, and there were no other Uchiha members in the ninja world. So, it seems the organization behind Shin Uchiha is quite powerful. Hirozen Sarutobi frowned, sighing helplessly. Does Akatsuki have any information about him? To be able to infiltrate Konoha silently and deceive Danzo through disguise techniques, this is definitely not something one person could do alone. Ah. Oh. Jun Uzumaki nodded, then shook his head, saying, "No, we only know he's from Konoha. The organization behind him? I didn't expect this method. Why did I go through all that trouble? I could have just created another organization, let Akatsuki play the righteous side, and let Shin Uchiha play the villain. Then the righteous and the evil would fight each other, saving the trouble of separating the two. It's just a matter of changing uniforms and giving them names. I'll inform Pain of the situation." Uzumaki-jun looked at Danzo and Hirozen Sarutobi with a serious expression, and said with emotion, "I never imagined such a terrifying organization would emerge in the ninja world. I wonder what they're trying to do? Let's distance Shin Uchiha from the Akatsuki for now. Thank you for your trouble." Hirozen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette and said, "Konoha will also intensify its investigation. In any case, Konoha, like the Akatsuki, yearns for peace in the ninja world. Don't worry. The Land of Whirlpools is committed to combating organized crime. We show no mercy to any organization that threatens the ninja world." Uzumaki-jun said righteously, looking at Hirozen Sarutobi with unwavering resolve. Severely punishing organized crime and maintaining stability in the ninja world has always been the Land of Whirlpool's duty. So, let the Land of Whirlpools and the Akatsuki handle this dark force. Chapter 2. Chapter 175 Establishing a Branch Office. Stepping out of the Hokage building, Uzumaki-jun fell into deep thought. He knew that Hirozen Sarutobi and Danzo wouldn't believe him so easily, so his next task was to fill in Uchiha Shin's evil organization. This would create a truly massive organization to oppose Akatsuki. Perhaps in the future, he and Akatsuki would even have a chance to lead the ninja world to attack Uchiha Shin's organization. This was practically ruling the world. Just thinking about it was exciting. But, what should it be called? Looks like we'll have Akatsuki create a branch, Uzumaki-jun muttered, stroking his chin. This organization is for taking the blame. After returning, he'd have the Shinra clan and the Blood Pond clan dye their hair. They absolutely couldn't be discovered during this time. At least until Zetsu found Madara's substitute. And, only then would Konoha's attention shift from Akatsuki to another organization. Anyway, it was one of their own organizations. At least then, the Land of Whirlpools would intensify its crackdown on organized crime. Just as Uzumaki-jun was pondering how to create another organization, a Konoha ninja appeared before him, respectfully saying, "Lord Jun, Lady Mito requests your presence. Hirozen, do you really believe that brat's words? Danzo asked, frowning. No matter how you look at it, this matter is related to them. Sigh, what can we do now? Hirozen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette and said helplessly, the land of whirlpools is now an ally of Konoha, while the Akatsuki and Uchiha Shin are enemies. We know nothing right now. Only by finding out who Uchiha Shin really is can we salvage Konoha's reputation. But, Danzo said with displeasure, you know, the land of whirlpools is known for its benevolence and righteousness. This matter looks like a conspiracy by the land of whirlpools no matter how you look at it. Are we just going to let it go like this? Perhaps someone else did this to destroy the relationship between Konoha and the land of whirlpools? Hirozen Sarutobi sighed and said, before things are clear, Konoha should not act rashly. Moreover, Konoha now needs the help of the land of whirlpools to hold off the ninjas from Sand Village and Rain Village. Bring back the Uchiha clan members who are on missions outside. Hirozen Sarutobi put down his pipe, stood up with his hands behind his back, and said, the entire ninja world is watching the Uchiha clan. They're not safe outside the village. Hearing Hirozen Sarutobi's words, Danzo's pupils constricted, and he said in shock, you mean, it's all for Konoha? Hirozen Sarutobi said wistfully. You know, we originally planned to wipe out a few small ninja villages to deter others, but now, the entire ninja world is watching Konoha. Knock knock. Come in. Hirozen Sarutobi called out impatiently. Why was it like this again? Every time he got to the point, someone would knock on the door. Looking at the Anbu ninja who entered, he asked, what is it? The people of the land of whirlpools have been invited by Lady Mito, the Anbu ninja said respectfully. Lady Mito? Hirozen Sarutobi and Danzo both frowned upon hearing this. What is it? Grandma Mito. Uzumaki-jun looked at the increasingly aged Uzumaki Mito before him, sighed inwardly, and said with a smile, what do you want to see me about? Jun-chan. Uzumaki Mito leaned back on the thick cushion, sat up straight, and said with emotion, it's been years, you've grown up. Grandma Miro is still so energetic. Uzumaki-jun said with a smile, you haven't aged at all. No. Uzumaki Miro shook her head with a smile and said, I don't have many years left. Then, her eyes looked blankly ahead, Hashirama, I'm coming to see you soon. Uzumaki-jun quietly looked at Uzumaki Mito, waiting for her to come to her senses. No matter what, the land of whirlpools owed her a favor for that sealing technique, not to mention the ninjutsu scrolls of Hashirama and Tobirama. It seemed that old monkey Hirozen Sarutobi wasn't that generous. This must have been Miro's suggestion. I've called you here because I need your help with something. Mito Uzumaki snapped out of her reverie, narrowing her eyes as she said, I've wronged her. What is it? Jun Uzumaki asked curiously, wondering if he'd misheard, as Mito's tone had carried a hint of sadness and regret. I beg you. An airship? Shimon looked at the intelligence report in his hand, a sigh escaping his lips. This is truly a powerful tool. Whether transporting supplies, personnel, or launching surprise attacks, airships play a crucial role. Shimon pondered for a moment, then called out, someone. Lord Kazakage. An Anbu ninja appeared, respectfully saying, please give your orders. Take this letter to the daimyo of the land of whirlpools. Shimon narrowed his eyes, speaking calmly, and at the same time, see what the whirlpool ninjas are doing right now. Their sand village also wanted an airship. But what could they do without money? Although his magnet release could generate income, the village still didn't have enough funds to buy an airship. So, hopefully the brat will agree. Shimon sneered. Otherwise, don't blame Tsunagakure for breaking their promise. After leaving the Senju clan's residence, Uzumaki-jun fell silent, his eyes coldly sweeping over the Hokage building. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hirozen Sarutobi would actually do something like this for a Jinchuriki. If Hashirama Senju were to reappear using Edo Tensei, how would the third Hokage face the first Hokage? To have Hashirama suddenly have a daughter, it's no wonder Hashirama would kill him. But Danzo will probably have to take the blame again. That old monkey is courting death. Uzumaki-jun muttered with a cold laugh. This is intolerable to any clan, but he never expected Mito Uzumaki to agree. It seems the village Hashirama created is more important to Mito. Since he'd promised Mito he'd take care of her, then consider it respecting the elderly and caring for the young. Uzumaki-jun sighed, saying, we'll settle this score with Konoha later. In the sky. An airship bearing the inscription Hope Number 1 was slowly approaching the land of whirlpools. On the deck. Mommy, mommy. A little blue-haired girl ran excitedly around the deck, finally stopping beside a woman and saying happily, "Do you think we'll be able to live in a big house and have delicious candy when we get to the land of whirlpools?" "Of course." The mother smiled, ruffling the little girl's hair, and said, "Then Conan won't have to suffer from the cold or hunger, and she'll have access to education." But her eyes were still filled with worry. After all, they were going to an unfamiliar place. She couldn't just easily believe what that ninja said. No matter what, Zionon must be happy. Mom knelt down, her eyes fixed on Zionon, and said earnestly, "You must be happy." "Yes." Zionon nodded, giving a cute smile, "Be happy with Mom." Hearing this, Mom smiled slightly. Anyway, their final outcome in the land of rain was the same, so why not embrace a new life with hope? Perhaps they were right? But a resolute look appeared in Zionon's mother's eyes as she smiled at her daughter. No matter what, she wouldn't let Zionon get hurt. Chapter 3. None. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.